All right, get it.
We in there.
We are in there? We're in there? We're doing it?
Yep.
Oh, pineapple, bro. That's crazy that you can't legally. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, I don't know what things are like, but when I was younger, I think I got my first job at 14 or 15, so...
Yeah, I started lifeguarding when I was 15.
Yeah, let's not talk about age, though, just because it's, you know, a dangerous topic on Twitch, but... Yeah, if you're 14 or 15, as far as I know, you know, it depends on the state, but there's like a law. You have to be minimum age and then you can get a W-2 and shit. But how are you doing? What's up, Anna? How are you? Pineapple, did you get the egg flip, dude? Did you get the nice... Tony, I don't know if you saw, but I posted a egg flip in community.
I did not see. I'm going to have to go look at that.
Yeah, Aaron got the slow-mo on the fucking thingy, dude. I broke one yolk, but you know, that's how it goes. You didn't do any eggs today? That's crazy, bro. You got to get that protein. You know, you got to get the protein. No, you'll be fine, dude. Honestly, like when you're younger, diet doesn't matter as much as like don't eat too much bad stuff. You need things for your growing bones and whatnot, but you know, like don't eat, you know, candy and cupcakes all day because then you'll just be fat and not have good the good nutrients you need to grow. Good evening, Graham. How's the heat? Yeah, Anna, what's your weather like? You're in fall right now, right? Or are you in winter? The heat is horrific, bro. It cooled down here. We got
feels better today for sure. Yeah, it's still 90, but
I'm seeing. Yeah, what does my shit say? Mine's in the 80s, so we're at 80F right now for me.
See, 88 on one and 90 on the other right now, but yeah.
There we go. It's 89 for you, Pineapple? Damn, bro. It's winter, Anna. Do you get snow where you live? Or is that like a... Like, I feel like... Does Brazil get any snow? Like regular snow, you know, not like one snow a year that's like maybe, you know, 3 millimeters or something. I'm going to a roller coaster park this weekend. It's going to be P8. Bro, what? 98? Not where I live, but in the southeast part of the country, we do. Nice. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, isn't there like a mountain range down there? I'm trying to look at a map of like mountain ranges in Brazil. Oh, no, there's not. I'm thinking of like the Andes. There's not like a major range in a similar way. Oh, I see. You got like coastal mountains like down by the coast. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily thinking of Chile. I thought there was another one like near Paraguay, Uruguay. Like there was like another mountain range there on like the south side of the Amazon basin, but I don't know. Please forgive my ignorance of South America. I will say that I'm pretty confident that my general level of knowledge of geography is much higher than the average American. You're going to set up a slushy stand? Going to head out? Dude, that's a good way to make some money. Get after it, bro. Do like $5 a slushy. That seems pretty fair nowadays. Maybe like you could probably go for $6 or $7. And I'm not trying to meme 6, 7. I'm just saying that extra $1, $2 is going to matter a lot to you, but it won't matter to anyone buying your slushies. $10 is too much. I'm not buying a $10 slushie from a kid, you know? 9 kids came over, you got $40. That's sick, dude. Wait, 9 kids for $40. That's yeah. I don't think you're charging enough there, brother. Yeah, raise it up a little bit. Do like $7 slushies. No worries, Anna. I'm glad you have tolerance for my Brazil's specific geographic ignorance. Okay, so we've got game news today, gang. Some interesting stuff has occurred. It's not great. One of the most interesting things is that Chris Barrett was the original marathon game director before they hired Ziegler. Ziegler took over for Barrett. So Barrett was like the guy who started the whole marathon thing. And Barrett had some problems and he got fired, let go, all of that. His claim was that he was fired by Bungie so that they didn't have to pay him out his earnings from like the Sony acquisition and stuff like that. So he sued Bungie. Bungie provided evidence to say that he was rightfully terminated. He refiled a new suit suing Bungie and Sony under the Sony leadership, and his case just settled. And he tweeted that he was happy with the results. His name is now added to the credits of Marathon. He sued them for $100 million. There's no financial disclosure because it's an out-of-court settlement. That doesn't have to be public knowledge, but the lawsuit is dropped. So he's done. And it's interesting. So he's back in the credits. He probably got, tens of millions in a payout, especially if he was suing for $100 million. I bet he got a payout above 50. That's my guess. But we don't know. So Barrett's back on the credits for Marathon. Yeah, there's a lot of chatter about it right now. And I guess in that vein, Anna, I want to explain a little bit because I know people like to hate on Pete for his car collection, but I want to say this: Pete only spent this is a little crazy, so just follow me here. Pete only spent like 2.1 million on classic cars, and that's over the lifetime of his public record for Bring a Trailer or whatever. So like people looked at his account on Bring a Trailer and saw like what he was purchasing. And they were like, he spent over $2 million on cars. This is the thing. His most expensive car is considered a very high value collector's car. That is a 1971 Porsche 911 Turbo, or not even Turbo, 911S. So 1971. It's a classic Porsche. It's not a great car. And that I think is more of like a financial investment. And that car was valued at like 200K or something like that when he bought it. So that's his most expensive car. The weird thing to me is that people are acting like he's got a warehouse full of Lamborghinis and shit. He does not. He has just a bunch of very boring classic cars. And I think if anything, if anyone wants to talk shit about his car collection, they should talk shit about the cars he chose to collect because they're not even fucking interesting cars. Like I was saying in Discord, dude's got like an International Scout that's like a reproduction, it's probably not even a reproduction, but it's like a Ford Bronco. It's like not a very interesting car, and it's just in his garage, like in his collection. I don't know if he's driving it or not. I know Pete was like kind of a car guy, but he's more into like car looks in terms of like classic cars. He's not like a driver car guy, like if you think about like me and Ad are talking about race cars and stuff, he's not the same kind. So he would always commute to work in like a like late 80s, early 90s, like 90, 91 BMW 3 Series. So it was like one of the first cars he's ever had, and he just drove that, to work every day. So I think it's just the whole point I'm trying to make is it's a weird thing for people to get mad at him for. There's plenty of other shit to yell at Pete about, but his car collection is like, it's not even an interesting or deep car collection. Like that's what I'm trying to say. I don't hate Pete. Too much work. Just found the game funny and players. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the shit talking, I think is absolutely warranted. I just wish it was more like pointed in a better way, Like, I wish people would be like, this guy fucking, ruined Bungie all for a shitty car collection. Like, that would make me feel better. But it's just like blanket hate on someone collecting cars, which I don't get as much. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Fed Bungie to the wolves for mid old-timey cars. Exactly, Tony. What's up, Travis? How you doing? Welcome back, man. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate that. It's always great to have someone like, be interested in what we got going on with the stream and come back for a Thursday if they found us on a Wednesday. How you doing today? You doing any streaming? Also, what are you working on, Travis? I feel like we didn't necessarily get into your projects or anything like that. Anna says, yeah, the management decisions are worse than any kind of old car collection. Exactly. That's what I want to take issue with. Because, like, if you're yelling at a dude on the internet that you don't know because he's shitty, you're not going to hurt his feelings making fun of his car collection. He doesn't give a fuck about that. Or, like, in the way you're making fun of it. You're like, the cars you got are stupid. And then you show, like, pictures of the cars and you're like, man spent this much money, could have had this instead. Like, that would be better. I haven't streamed much in like the past year. I have a few projects. One is Skate Lab, which I can't stream. Why can't you stream it? Did you not make it? Also, Skate Lab sounds fucking cool. Skate Lab on Steam. Did you make Skate Lab? Oh, the owner doesn't want you streaming. Oh, you work on. I got you. So you work on Skate Lab as like part of the team, but you don't. For your job, you're not allowed to stream it. That makes sense. See, we're very open with our stuff here. Like we will share code. Tony will show you shit that he's made. It's you and the owner. Awesome. Graham, you're kind of a big deal. Just wanted to point that out. You wish you were a big deal, bro. You don't want to be a big deal. The reality is nobody wants to be a big deal. When you're a big deal, you have the adoration and attention of people who don't actually care about you, and you're isolated and you're by yourself. It's not a great time. You don't want to be there. Yeah. It's like he knows me. Adore me. Yeah, exactly. So Skate Lab's interesting. So I skateboard too. How do you like? Can you tell me about some Skate Lab? Is this what like Brightside was playing the other day? I feel like he might have been playing Skate Lab. And when I say the other day, I'm literally talking about like 4 months ago. I don't even remember. Yeah, dude. Like, if you want to take a second and tell me about Skate Lab, I'm super down. We're totally fine with people talking about what they're working on and like plugging their own stuff. Obviously, as long as you don't like spam and be disrespectful about it, but which I wouldn't think you would do anyway. I want to look at the main page for Skate Lab here and see what kind of thing is going on. Physics-driven skateboarding sandbox. Okay, so it looks like it's just feet. Physics-based sim skate, left stick, left foot, right stick, right foot. There are systems in place to help balance the board during flips and grinds. That's pretty sick. Dude, I love skating. Like, I'm not so I like freestyle street skate. I'm old now, so I've been taking it easy with the skating, but I can still skate. It's pretty fun. My flip tricks have gone real soft. I had to take a break because I was doing some flip tricks and like whacked my shins pretty fucking hard, so I have to let them heal up a bit. Trailer's like 2 years old. Current game as a character and is much more polished. The story needs an update. Yeah, no worries, dude. It looks pretty neat. Oh, I don't like the Crocs, dude. Get those Crocs out of here. You can pick Crocs for your feet. I'm not fucking with that, dude. Graham says half of these guys you have to bludgeon them to get anything out of them. Are you talking about the guys in like the community to like talk about their stuff? Not anymore though. That was an early customization option. Yeah, good. Get rid of that shit. So Graham, I think a part of the reason is, especially in the software game dev community, there's a lot of indie devs that are trying to emulate what AAA does, and the AAA, they tend to play their cards close to their chest. It's not because there's some like secret fucking, IP theft, corporate espionage stuff going on. That is a part of it, but mostly it's about marketing beats and careful plans that cost millions of dollars to make sure things hit on the right date at the right time, because there's a follow-up. Like, these marketing campaigns are planned for years in advance, and then they hit all these beats. And anytime they miss one, it fucks up a bunch of stuff down the train, and that costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's why people are really careful in AAA with showing things too early or anything like that. And I think indie game devs mistake the fact that, like, no one's gonna steal their shit, is what I'm trying to say. Like, they're a little too close. So that's why we are so open with it. I'm very confident that no one's gonna steal our shit, because like they can't really. For me, I don't like to be disrespectful, because these are people's businesses that we're chatting in. So I'll talk about cool systems or techniques that I've found, but not specific implementations and mechanics generally. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah, I get that. I think that's another weird part about it, Graham, is like when chat is trying to tell you how to make your game. I don't think that's a good way to go. Chat doesn't know the vision. Chat's not with you every step of the way, Chat's not in your head. Like, it's not really a good idea. So I think if anything, that's why I don't do it. But for what it's worth, I'm not out here like, I don't watch streams. I know that's crazy because we're out here, but I don't. I'm not usually participating with chat. I find it very exhausting.
That being said, though, the amount of help that we've gotten from our stream, I was just sitting here thinking about it, and it's like, Adder is uncountless amounts of help, but just between like Boom and Turning Cog and Brightside and Graham and everybody else, it's like everybody's like chipped in a little bit and like helped us out with something here and there, and it's really cool.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely welcome to chime in and chat. Like, so I'm a seasoned game designer. It's very easy for me to get people's feedback and wholesale ignore it while making them feel like I listen to them and be, respectful about the feedback being provided. So I'm fine with it. I think it's okay. When I give help, the first thing I say is I'm giving advice with asymmetric information. I'm giving you generic advice on techniques, up to you to filter out what's going on and what's going to work for you. Yeah, exactly. I know quite a few of those names, good people, except that Graham guy. He's the worst. We like Graham. Graham's great. Why is everyone mean to Graham? And then, like, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, how's Boom? Has anyone seen Boom lately? We haven't seen. I feel like we saw Boom last week, but it was late on Thursday. I hope Boom's doing well. Didn't we raid Boom last week? Maybe we did.
Maybe not last week, but recently.
2 weeks ago or some shit?
Yeah.
Because they know they'll get it back later when they feel safe. Yeah, good shit, Graham. You get them. Graham, do you stream too, or are you mostly just a chat guy? I feel like I've asked you this before, but I can't remember the answer. Tony, are you working on anything in particular? Or you just futzing?
Just fixing some stream stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Tony is playing with the ball machine and working on some stream integrated stuff, which is good. I have a company, Twitch, that I use to stream incognito so that no one knows it's me. Oh, nice, dude. Why do you want people to not know it's you? And do you stream often enough that like people would just be following you? Or I guess, yeah, I'm probably digging a little too much into your personal business that you don't want out there. I'm not trying to do that. I'm understanding now. It's probably that you are associated with something that has some pretty good name recognition, and you don't want to have people know where you are or who you are as a part of that, because you like being able to exist anonymously as Graham LDLW on Twitch.television, which is totally cool. I respect that. I get it. We're trying to do the opposite thing here and be like, we are here. This is us. This is me. Yeah, we're doing the opposite thing. But that's not to say like you should. Ours is obviously, you've been around long enough. We're doing this with a very specific purpose in mind. Like, Twitch is a marketing tool, right? That's why we don't stream 24/7. That's cool, Graham. Well, I'm glad that it sounds like you can make games professionally and be successful at it, because that's increasingly hard nowadays, especially when you consider that it just got fucking wiped out by Microsoft. So this is alarming and really sad. So id was under the ZeniMax Bethesda umbrella at Microsoft, or maybe it was its own branch of Microsoft, something like that. But id has been hit with 136 layoffs. At least. It's potentially more. And it seems like a lot of people that were there were very highly skilled. Like, this is like, to use the fucking Zoomerism, this is like generational knowledge that's being cut free from Microsoft and is like loose now as free agents. So that shit's fucking crazy. I'm going to read through this article and give you guys a little bit of insight here. The reason why this became public knowledge is because yesterday, a WARN notice filed in Texas. WARN Act is you can't just cut people loose without announcing it like publicly and shit like that. It's for workers' rights stuff. So anyway, a WARN notice was filed in Texas saying that 96 workers have been laid off in Richardson, Texas, where it is based. And a further 40 remote roles have been cut for a total of 136 job losses. It's entirely possible it's more than that because Microsoft is cutting, like 5,000 staff across a bunch of different parts of Microsoft. According to an announcement published by the Communication Workers of America last December, it had 185 employees total, which would mean that if the figure is accurate, the majority of the studio's workers have been laid off this week in huge Xbox cuts. Derek Best, a former VFX artist at id who's worked on all 3 modern Doom games, published a lengthy post on LinkedIn saying he was in shock at how brutal the layoff cuts were. Collectively, decades of knowledge was wiped out of the studio. The VFX team was eliminated down to a single artist with no lead or producer. The engine programmer responsible for the massive gains in VFX pipeline improvements, like all the particle editor work, was let go as well. All devs that had Houdini knowledge for procedural modeling or cached animations were wiped out. So all the work for Doom Dark Ages in that program has gone to waste and no one can carry it on. He concluded, "Great job, Microsoft. Nothing says business success like nuking a team into the dirt and relegating them to support studio size while also throwing out massive technological achievements." id Software is one of the most historic developers. We all know this. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Writing on the wall is getting relegated to support studio size and moving to Unreal. Based on internal emails and the roles, you can see clearly got impacted. That's bad grammar. Engine team was decimated. So it has its own engine, had its own engine, and they were doing their own thing. So they let go of everyone who knows how that shit works and who built it. So supremely short-sighted and brain-dead moves from Asha et al, which is, it's et al, al, but whatever. In another LinkedIn post, id VFX artist Todd Boyce criticized the timing of the layoffs, which took place the day before the release of a major expansion for Doom the Dark Ages. So they just released new content, and their whole studio got obliterated. This is what insanity and despicable corporate greed looks like. This is a quote, from Todd Boyce. "What a complete disregard for people who spent months working unpaid overtime to make the DLC, and for an engine that has consistently been the industry standard for performance. It is pretty insulting how it was done, when it was done, and what it will do to the id brand and those who are still employed for now." id also has a Frankfurt, Germany studio, apparently, focused on the id Tech engine. It's not yet clear if it's been affected by this week's cuts. That's rough, guys. Like, this is a loss that the game industry may not recover from. There's a lot of really good shit that's gone now. Anna says, "Is it wrong for me to be sad that Obsidian wasn't one of the studios released from MS?" Nope, not at all. I know that being independent again as a is a guarantee thing, isn't a guarantee thing, but they stayed and still lose 50 devs and now stop their own IP, and they're doing a Fallout, aka doing games for Bethesda. Yeah. So here's the thing. I was just talking to someone about my interview loops at Obsidian. That was one of the few studios that in the interview loop, I stopped the interview because I did not want to go work for them. I got through like 2 rounds of phone interviews. Then they sent me a design test. In the design test was they wanted me to design an entire destination for one of their space games, and I only had 2 weeks to do it. So this is like, it could be weeks or months of individual contributor work that I would give to them as a design test, and they could just keep without giving me a job. So I told them that wasn't reasonable whatsoever, and I wasn't comfortable doing that. And they got back to me and they were like, well, this is standard practice. Everyone has to do design tests. And I was like, it's weird that you would tell me that it's standard practice. I've been doing this for a while. I have a, portfolio up on my LinkedIn you can look at. And they were like, well, how else are we going to know that you can actually do the job you say you can do? And I was like, go look. If you want to know my design acumen, go watch a 2-hour talk I have linked on my LinkedIn where I'm discussing the design process for making stuff in Destiny. Like that'll be a good way to gauge, that'll show you that I know how to do this. And they were like, yeah, that's not going to work for us. You still got to do this design test. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm done with this. And they were like, really? And they were like, wait, just please do it. I like this matters a lot to us, but we got to get through this. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm done. Take it easy. I was like, I'll go talk to someone else. And the person that I was relaying the story to was telling me that they've had very similar experiences every time they've interviewed with Obsidian. So yeah, I don't think you're wrong, Anna, for saying like, I understand, you want to be a good person in your heart and you don't want to like celebrate that, people losing jobs and shit like that, but no one's entitled to a job. So I think you're fully justified in saying that. The way Obsidian does business is not great from an outsider looking in. I don't like what they do. If they're willing to have a candidate give them, a crunch in the interview loop and then take their work for free, like that's crazy. The design test where I've gotten jobs before, maybe 2 to 4 hours of work, if that, and they still give you 2 weeks to do it. So I've done a lot of design tests. I've never done one where they were like design an entire destination. That's fucking crazy. That's so much work. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that if someone is asking for that much from you out the gate, it's probably not going to be a good fit. You're going to get fucking ran. And that means like you'll be treated very poorly and it won't be a positive experience for you. If you're a brand new person in the games industry and you need a place to start and you get an offer from Obsidian, just be aware. Take that job, start doing the work, start interviewing for other places immediately. Obsidian released 3 big games last year, being Proficient. Sorry, that pop-up just blocked your message, Anna. Being Proficient like this was probably one of the reasons they stayed. Another studio locked in a crunch loop. Yeah. So Anna, the reason they stayed and they took that work over is because Obsidian negotiated really well with Daddy Microsoft. And I'm sure Bethesda, a part of them, was sticking to their guns saying like, this is fucking crazy. You can't do this to us. Like, look at what we have. And they're like, Obsidian will do the work you did. And they're like, Obsidian can't do the work we did. And they're like, too bad. Goodbye. And they will, Microsoft is currently in the fuck around stage. They're going to find out. And I really hope that it's not the death of Xbox, because that's just bad for everybody. Travis says, good for you. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's not the first place I've turned down. It is what it is. Like I'm not trying to brag about it. It's just, I think when you're interviewing with somewhere, I've done a lot of interviews. I haven't always been a game developer. The first half of my career, I've done a bunch of other stuff. I've worked, any kind of job that you can possibly imagine, from like, blue collar service work like waiting tables, right, or working in a kitchen. I've done that all the way, through like delivering auto parts, retail sales, customer service and tech support. I've done, network engineering, like all kinds of different shit. So for me, I just have a lot of professional experience. And when I got into the game industry, I was like, these people are fucking insane. Some of these people out here running these companies have no idea how the real world works. And so I just don't tolerate bullshit, for better or worse. I guarantee it's hurt my career, but I don't care. I'm doing what I'm doing. Been successful enough. And I'm much happier doing this thing with Tony here, running our own studio and getting this off the ground. It's great. We have an awesome working relationship. We get to work on stuff we want to work on. Amazing people like you support us, so it's fucking awesome. Tony, you spelled test wrong.
It's fine.
Are you sure, bro? Yeah, I agree, because all AA studios suffering right now did all the things that Microsoft asked of them. It's not their fault that bad decisions above their pay grade led to this shit show. I don't even think you could blame any one person. Like, you can't blame Phil Spencer. You can't blame LaChapelle, that was his name. It was like Kevin LaChapelle or whatever. You can't blame any one person. It's a combination of many different things. It's also not just the hardware problem, right? Like, Xbox has been failing as a business for a decade. That's not acceptable. Like, they have to fix it.
It's like that thing that I was saying to you and Adder earlier that I saw a tweet about, which is that since Microsoft has acquired Bethesda has never made a Fallout or Elder Scrolls game. And that just seems so insane to me, and I hadn't really considered it before. They've definitely republished Oblivion, Fallout 4 a couple times, some Fallout 76 type shit. They did Starfield, but the two big moneymaker things that they did, they have never put out a new game, and they even put out a Fallout TV show and never had an accompanying game to go with it. There was barely even Fallout 76 content to go with this TV show that actually did insanely well and would have pushed a new game really hard. And it's just such a fumble when you think about just stuff like that. Even Todd Howard's just sitting back, he's got a paycheck. He gets to spend 20 fucking years on Elder Scrolls 6, and Microsoft takes the blame ultimately. And
you could also throw this out there. They fucked up real bad with Starfield. That's kind of the only thing that they made was Starfield.
Yep, which was kind of mid.
I would say it was very mid. I think universally people did not like Starfield. Yeah, and it's complicated because it's not that Microsoft necessarily tells them what to make. The current way Microsoft is running, and was more recently as Phil Spencer was being pushed out and stuff like that, is they would deliver these impossible fucking mandates on their partner studios of, you have to release a game that adopts 10 million players in a 3-month period that takes 3 years to make as a unique new IP. It's crazy shit that nobody's ever done in the history of making video games. And they would just mandate this to a partner studio. I mean, this is hearsay. I don't know that that's actually what happened. I've just heard stories from people who've worked directly in these pipelines be like, that's how that goes. It's completely fucked. I don't understand it. More than 10 years since the last Elder Scrolls Fallout game? Yeah.
Yeah, Fallout 4 is the last one. That shit's crazy.
I mean, 76 technically counts, but it's not a good game.
Yeah.
I'm just 4 saying, is a better game.
The people out there who will buy this shit, they want a new mainline Fallout game and a new mainline Elder Scrolls game. They don't want spin-offs. They don't want Elder Scrolls Online. They don't want Fallout 76. They don't want any of that. They just want them to make Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls 6. They could have a GTA 6 situation on their hands if they would just fucking do it. People are going to lose their goddamn minds when the sequel to Skyrim comes out. No question. They just have to do it, and they haven't fucking done it.
I think this is the hardest part, is you can't guess at why they haven't done it, because every studio has its own unique nonsense that they're going through. And so you have no idea. There could have been like a cabal of people who were like really pushing for Elder Scrolls 6, and they were very, very into it. And they were like, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be a continuation of the thing. And then business people came in and flipped their fucking table over, told them to make other shit because it wasn't focus testing well. Or you could have the opposite. The business people are the ones who truly understand the franchise, and they're pushing to make the thing that's specific. But the creatives are like completely fucking bored with this thing because they worked on it for the last 20 years of their lives. They don't want to make this anymore. So they're like dragging their feet and being a pain in the ass. Like both situations I've seen.
I've always
Everywhere in the
assumed
game
it was
industry.
like they don't want to make Skyrim 2, but they don't know what else to do. That has always
Yeah.
been my read on the situation.
Honestly, they should just make Skyrim 2.
They could have made Skyrim 2 5 years ago, and it would have made $10 billion. Like, I don't know.
They could literally just do like an all Khajiit version of Skyrim.
Yeah.
You know, because they did the Northmen, right, with like Skyrim, and then Oblivion was the Empire or whatever, right? Like I'm not up on my Daggerfall stuff or whatever.
I think you're right though. And then the Skyrim's up north with the Nords and shit.
And Morrowind was the elves.
The Dwemer.
So
Yep.
there's like plenty of fucking room to just be like, well, this is the cat and lizard one, and then they just make a story centered around their lore, which I don't know that they've done that before.
Or you just go like, we've got this whole continent and all of this lore and shit. Like the whole thing's in the game now. It plays like Skyrim. Have fun. Bye. Like, I don't know.
Yes, Anna, you're very right on that. Microsoft snatched up all these, like, I wouldn't even call those AA. I would say those are AAA, but snatched up a bunch of studios to say, you're going to make Game Pass portfolio stuff. And obviously that was a fucking mistake. The push for Game Pass was an insane decision by Microsoft leadership. It's the whole, if you've ever heard Tony talk about the state of software development and chasing SaaS platform, it's the same fucking thing. I guarantee you they had someone, they were like schmoozing someone at the fucking Catalina wine mixer or some shit like that, right? And they were like, hey man, I'm a tech bro. Look at my 6 Lambos. Like I've done all this and here's how I did it. SaaS platform. And they were
somebody
like,
thought Stadia was the best idea that has ever existed. And they thought for sure Stadia was going to work. And you can see tons of different platforms kind of got on board with it. Game Pass has the streaming thing. They talk about how they're expecting to have twice as many subscriptions by now as they have. And a lot of that was built upon the notion that everybody would use the streaming side of it and not just like the PC Game Pass side of it. And I think that side of it is like even smaller than they expected. But you also have like GeForce Now and like Amazon has one that's called Luna and all of these things where like all of these platforms got built to effectively mirror Stadia, where you just like, you don't even have to own a gaming computer. You can just stream from the internet, and it never took off because it kind of sucks and it doesn't work that good. And Stadia became like a big meme and stuff like that. And yeah, like Vince said, somebody just got monthly recurring revenue on the brain and thought that that was going to be better. And you know, it may or may not be for better or worse, depending on how it's handled, but it did not work out in this case. And you have to offer you have to, you know, give a value for that monthly recurring revenue. And that's where they've really failed.
Bro, I was at Bungie working on Destiny when Stadia was launching, and I was fully aware of the conversation about Destiny being one of the flagship Stadia products. And I was like, this is a terrible idea. You know, at first, sorry, I should back up. At first, I was like, oh, that's cool. Hopefully this is good. And this is better than, what was the fucking first one that they were trying to do? The first game streaming service. It wasn't Stadia. It was called something else. Anyway, I was like, this reminds me of that. And hopefully it's better this time. You know, that was too early. And then I was talking to one of the guys who was like actually working with the partnership. And he's like, it's fucking terrible. And I was like, no way it's terrible. And he's like, bro, it's unplayable. And I was like, no, it's not. I don't believe you. And he's like, it's literally fucking unplayable. The latency's so bad, you can't even play PvE. And then, of course, you know, there were people on Twitter just gassing it up for some reason. These are people who don't make games anymore, but they're like consultants in the game industry. And I was watching this dude yap about it on Twitter, and he's like, I'm on a plane on my way to such and such conference to give a talk about how to make video games as a publisher. And, you know, I'm playing my favorite game, Destiny, on Stadia on the flight. It's actually playable. And I'm like, I watched the gameplay clip. There's like 3 seconds of latency, literally 3. Like he would try to move and then like 3 seconds later, something would happen. The dude was just running around in patrol mode. He wasn't doing anything of substance. And I'm like, you're not actually playing. You're playing Destiny. Technically, you're correct, but you're not playing the game the way the game is fun. You know, like you're just doing a tech test. It's very weird. Travis, you forgot about Stadia? I mean, yeah, nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say.
Yeah, I remember the video of Destiny on Stadia where it was like somebody filming their computer screen and their keyboard, and they would hit the space bar and it would be like 1, 2, and then the character would jump.
Yep.
And it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I saw when I was watching the person's, tweet video of them playing Stadia Destiny. I was just like, how do you say this with a straight face? Like, why are you? What did they pay you?
It's one of those things where it's like, if the technology works as well as it should, which to be fair, like I've definitely heard, depending on where you live and how close you are to the data center and like a bunch of, how fast your internet is and all of that, like some of these services these days are extremely usable and lots of people rely on them and don't have any problems with them. But when Stadia came out, it was literally the first one, and the technology was definitely not vetted or figured out yet. And I think a lot of people just looked ahead because in the business world, there's this huge shift, especially like through the 2000s and the 2010s, where like all the businesses used to host a server rack in their IT closet in their office, and their website and their database and all of that shit was on there, and they had to have like a specialized team of people to maintain it, and it would break and it would take their entire business down and blah, blah, blah. And then AWS came out and everybody was able to shift all of that to the cloud, and it was like even cheaper to maintain in the cloud for a variety of reasons. And so as the late 2010s are coming around and Stadia and all of these things are coming out, some businesses were looking ahead and going like, this is the AWS of gaming. This is going to be like where the entire industry shifts, because like in business, 90% plus of it did honestly shift to the cloud because it was better. But the reasoning and like logistics of it and stuff, especially for people with like home internet and in different geographic locations and stuff like that, just like did not really play out the way that I think they thought it was going to. And then I think some of them kind of went like, we're early, but it'll get better. People will adopt it. And it never took off.
I remember the thing that was before Stadia. It was called OnLive.
Yep.
Oh, actually, you mentioned Luna. Since we're on this platform, guys, you get Luna benefits for being a Twitch person. Like you get like free games and shit. So if you've like linked your Luna account, I mean, I don't care about it, but for you guys out in chat, I know that you guys are on Twitch probably way fucking more than I am. So it's probably worth going to see if you got any stuff. So Luna is Amazon's cloud gaming service. It's kind of like Stadia, as weird as that sounds, but you can also just get games through Luna.
But Stadia, you needed like a device too, and like this, you might even be able to just like play this in your browser. So I don't know. It has some decent games on it. I mean, you're not going to get like,
it's got stuff in there,
Forza or Call of Duty or something, but like Hogwarts Legacy, Skyrim, like I don't know.
You got Angry Birds, dude.
Yeah, Angry Birds.
Yeah, Bird Angie. No talk, me Angie.
Play Fallout 4, Sonic Mania. Yeah, I mean, and I think if you have like Prime, maybe you get to use this. I don't actually know how this works, but
Hogwarts Legacy is a good game. Sorry, Anna. I know you're not a fan, but I'm just saying Hogwarts Legacy is a good game if you like Harry Potter. It's pretty cool. I'm not into it, but I've watched my wife play a bunch of it because she really likes Harry Potter, and it seems pretty dope. Like if you're into the universe at all, you do like your own little story, and you get to become a wizard or a witch and like do your whole business and join a house and all that. It's kind of fun. I say it's kind of fun. The combat looked deep enough to make me almost want to play it too, because there's like very interesting combos you can set up and like do cool spell stuff. And, you can even get into the dark arts if you want to learn some, you can learn some like abracadabras or whatever and like kill people with it.
Some Arvada Kevlars.
Yeah, exactly. Travis says I actually enjoyed Hogwarts. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people did. It's kind of interesting because I think it got slept on a bit, or maybe just people on the internet didn't talk about it.
Launched and was kind of mid, and then they fixed it or
No,
something?
it was good at launch. I think people just
Okay.
didn't talk about it because that was a time when JK was like
Yeah.
crashing the fuck out, and people were like, "I'm not going to support anything." So if
Yeah.
you said you liked Hogwarts Legacy, you were going to catch a bunch of heat on the internet. So I think
Gotcha.
people played it and just didn't talk about it. No, you're right. You're right. Travis brought up a good point. It was perf heavy on launch. Yeah, lower end computers couldn't handle it. Yeah, so for what it's worth, I think it was more popular on console. I don't think the Harry Potter fans were going to be playing that on a gaming PC, but it's possible. I mean, we're in a time where gaming PCs have like outstripped all the platforms. So I don't know. And I didn't play it myself. Graham says, I didn't play it, but I watched a buddy play it. It gave me some old school Fable vibes. Yeah, exactly, Graham. It has like a really interesting open world with a lot of fun stuff to do that's not like an Ubisoft open world game where like it's covered with these stupid fucking waypoints and like you have to do all the things. You don't really have to. You can have a lot of fun or like stick to the main story. You're into Fable 4. Travis, tell me about it. And Tony, I got to be right back. I got to have a wee.
There you
Be
go.
right back.
Yeah, I really like the other Fable games too. It's been a long time since I've played one, but I have pretty fond memories of all of them. I think I always kind of mix up like 2 and 3 in my brain, and I can't remember which one I played more of. But I feel like it was the one that had like and this probably doesn't narrow it down. I just vaguely remember like a mini game in one of the towns was either like blacksmithing or like bartending that you had to do a lot of to grind something to max level. And I remember doing it for hours.
All right, I'm back. Other Fable games are great. Looking forward to this next one. Never played a Fable game. I mean, I think that's fine, Anna. Was 3 was like obviously the last one, right?
I believe so, yeah.
That was where you could be like good or evil. I guess you could be good or evil in all of them, right?
Yeah. I was saying while you were gone, I know that I played a pretty substantial amount of either 2 or 3, and maybe it's both, but in my brain I feel like it's one or the other. And I don't remember a ton of specifics, but I just remember doing I want to say it was like a blacksmithing mini game in one of the towns for like literally 8 hours because you needed it to like max something out.
That sounds like 3 to me.
Yeah, it was maybe so you could like propose to like a very specific woman with like a ring or something. Like, yeah, I don't know.
You had
I
to get
remember
like your physique up because if you didn't get your physique up, then the fastest way was to blacksmith because if you were fighting, it took 10 times longer or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. And that was the one where you could get like a house in the village and like run the whole village.
Yep. You could buy the whole village out, basically, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird because like all of that sounds awesome. And I remember playing through a bunch of it and not enjoying it. Like there was like a point in time where I was, kind of doing the same thing you were talking about, like the blacksmith grind. And I was just like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. I'm tired of this. And I just kind of stopped playing the game. 3 was the one with the gun. I remember that. Because I don't think there was a gun in 2. And you could like be full marksman and like go all guns. And I remember going all guns.
I remember in 1, if you went full bow, you start shooting out like 5 arrows that would like arc out and into the target every time you fired or something. I don't know. Those games are sick. Very good.
What's up, Brightside? How you doing, brother? Oh, so I have a thunderstorm rolling in, so that's why my window's not blown out. So you guys can actually see what's back there now. Very exciting. Brightside, what are your thoughts on Fable? Are you a big Fable guy? And then let's see. I've got some more stuff. Okay, so Anna was talking about Obsidian. So I think it's important to say Obsidian cancels Avowed 2, and they're focusing on Fallout. So obviously,
I don't think Obsidian did any of that. I think Microsoft did. But
yes, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, the this pivot from Obsidian was the way Obsidian stays alive, and how Microsoft was able to cut Bethesda like dramatically. Bethesda lost a lot of fucking people. Not that they necessarily needed them all, but yeah.
It's kind of funny how it's almost like it would kind of be like, I guess, if like FromSoft or Sony was in a bad way and they're like, all right, we're remaking Bloodborne. It's like, all right, we're gonna put the fucking New Vegas guys on Fallout now. It's like, now you're gonna do that after people have been begging you to do it for like a decade and you've destroyed your company. Like, cool.
Brightside says, I always wished for a Fable ethics character system in an Animal Crossing style game. Like the player would transform over time based off their actions. Yo, dude, that would actually be pretty cool. Like a cozy Animal Crossing, but if you're like a dick, then your like guy starts to become a little evil and you can't attract, like you could have like an evil town. Yeah, dude, that's a good idea, actually. Brightside, you should make that game.
Is that like kind of what Cult of the Lamb is? I haven't played it, but
I don't know. I'm not into Cult of the Lamb because it's super satanic.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, if you were playing Animal Crossing and you were evil, what would you do? And my brain immediately goes to, like, you'd probably sacrifice the villagers to Satan or something like that. So, I don't know.
I mean, that sounds kind of fun. You could, like, you could do something like that and make it so that, like, all your villagers are now, like, you know, brainwashed cultists or something.
You start like a cult. Yeah, totally. That would be fun.
What's Fable without that system? I heard they're not going to implement that in the new Fable. Bro, that's not good.
No, I've heard the moral system is still there, but the thing that everybody's upset about is, like, in the old games, you would, like, grow demon horns and your eyes would glow red and you'd get these, like, tattoos and your skin would turn purple and stuff, and they've said they're not doing that at all.
Yep.
Or, like, if you're really good, your skin would be, like, perfect and your, like, eyes would glow blue and you'd have a halo over your head and, like, all
devil horns or a halo.
Yeah, and they're not doing any of that. Or if you, like, where like top level mage, you'd have like glowing tattoos all over your body. Like the systems were so cool. It's like really why people love those games so much. It's unfortunate that they've just been like, we're not going to do it.
Well, I think they've backtracked on a lot of that, Tony. I was remembering that I read something where people were reacting very negatively to early looks at Fable 4.
Yeah.
And they made a public statement saying, we're going to delay release, even though we haven't announced one yet. We're going to delay release and rework some of these systems to address the feedback from fans because it's been too long and we don't want to deliver something you'll be disappointed in.
They put out that trailer that was like parroting The Office and people responded extremely negatively to it. I remember.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. It was like Quirk Chungus, the game with Fable paint. Oh shit, Brightside hit the 70 stream streak. Let's go, dude. Plus 450 fucking channel points. Don't spend them all in one place, brother. The aesthetic was the whole point. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's what got me out of Fable is because I realized the aesthetic was the whole point, and I was like too deep in the game. I was playing like way too much of it, and I kind of burned myself out on it. Anna says Cult of the Lamb is super fun. I watched a friend streaming it and they have Twitch integration, so I died a few times in the game. Wait, what do you mean you died a few times? Oh, like you were one of their characters and they like sacrificed you or something? Anna said apparently Avowed 2 was to be released next year, so a lot of things were done already. Yeah, and they canceled it. Like in this article, this was a Bloomberg interview with studio design director Josh Sawyer. I think I'm skipping through a lot of this. Doesn't matter. According to the report, progress on Avowed 2 was going well, and it was on track to be announced within the next year. However, it did not fit within Xbox CEO Asha Sharma's new strategy. So Asha canned it, which is crazy. About a quarter of Obsidian's workforce is said to have lost their jobs this week as part of the cuts. Again, another warn notice filing in California. Obsidian lost like 50-something employees. Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Grounded 2. Those were what they were working on. In a Bloomberg interview with Obsidian head Fergus Urquhart, it was implied that Grounded 2 was a big hit for the studio, but neither the Outer Worlds 2 nor Avowed met sales expectations. So maybe that's why Asha cut Avowed 2, is because she's like, no one wants this game. But yeah, that's weird. Tony, has your CLOD ever randomly reset its weekly limit in the middle of the week? Asked Brightside.
It's not that your CLOD does it. It's that the Anthropic dev team tends to reset the limits for everybody randomly as like kind of a gift from time to time when certain things happen. Like if they put out a new model or they have a big outage or it's a holiday, like you can follow them on Twitter and they'll just tweet like, we just reset everybody's limits. And it happens legitimately almost once a week. So I know, like, I was talking to Omni one day, and he's like, "Man, my CLOD is like going to be out for like 2 days if something doesn't change here soon." And I was like, "Oh, they just released a new model today. I bet you they reset." And it was like 20 minutes later that they did it. So it does happen a lot.
You thought you got one over on them? I don't know, bro. They might be out thinking you. 80% this morning and 2% now. Nice, dude. Sounds like a win. I mean, I wouldn't.
Let's check.
I wouldn't be blowing my allocations on making up things to ask it. Okay, so Bethesda's head of studios told employees in a note this week that it will restructure around its strongest franchises. I mean, that's crazy. Ugh, Bethesda got fucking wrecked.
Yep, here you go, Brightside. Oh, wait. On the screen up, of course. Yeah, we've reset 5-hour and weekly rate limits for all users 3 hours ago. Top response, I smell fear. Amazing.
I was like, book, draft me up some UIs that look like X, Y, and Z. Because I had so many credits, I could do X twice. Nice, dude. Okay. Jill Braff said, to best position Bethesda for future growth, we are shifting from a planning model primarily centered on what's next for each independent studio to one that focuses on our strongest franchises in determining the content roadmap that best serves our players and Bethesda as a whole. That tells me they're going to remaster some games they've already made again. I don't know, man. This sucks. Oh, shit. Here we go. I hope Queen Anne's here. Queen Anne's probably not here. But we were talking about Yoshi and the Mysterious Book yesterday. And apparently you can now play it as a demo for free on Switch 2 if you want to check it out. It lets you play the first chapter of the game with all progress carried over to the full game if you want to buy it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to buy this game, honestly. It looks really fun to me. Nice and chill.
Which game?
Yoshi and the Mysterious Book.
Yeah.
Switch 2 title only, but it was the one I was talking about yesterday, saying like the Yoshi games are like shockingly slept on and they're really good. They remind me a lot of like Super Mario World on, SNES. Okay, so yeah, if you got a Switch 2 and you want to check it out, you can play the first chapter for free. Dude, Brightside, WarioWare is on the Nintendo Online Store for free. WarioWare is on the Nintendo Online Store right now. I know that. Let me see. I read that yesterday and I was talking about it. More news. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. Because I want to tell you the right thing. Sorry, Wario Land. You were talking about WarioWare. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know WarioWare is like Cooking Mama. It's
I
like
wish
a mini game.
WarioWare, like, it would be cool if they would re-release all the games so you could play them on the Switch, but like with their original input methods, because there's like a lot of them that are from the DS that require a touchscreen, but the Switch has a touchscreen, so that shouldn't be a problem. And there's like 2 or 3 that are from the Wii that require like the motion controls, but the Switch controllers can also do that. But you almost never see them implement games that way for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we built in every input method that we've ever invented into one console, but you can't play any of the games that use it. Like, crazy.
Oh my god, dude, I'm crashing out. Brightside just said, "Did y'all talk about mammoths?" I had to dip, bro. We talked about mammoths for like an hour. You missed it.
Yeah, dude.
The whole fucking like, bro. I talked about it for a while. Mocap says we need a VR WarioWare. Okay. I'm skeptical, Mocap, because I think the biggest problem with VR is like every title has some kind of motion control mechanic to it, and that gets really, really tiring. Like, Tony, how long did we play golf yesterday? Probably like 3 hours of golf.
Probably 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So what makes that work really well is it's mini golf. So like you take a break in between your swing, you know, like there's a lot of really good downtime, and the course itself is almost like an amusement park attraction where you're like looking at shit and going like, oh, what's this cool thing? Like, damn it, I just hit the cable. Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. It was the cable. Yo, Anna, thank you for gifting Mocap a sub. Get those emotes, Mocap. WarioWare is good for short bursts, though. Yeah, I think that's the problem with VR is that VR is mostly played in short bursts, but there are like we've been doing Assetto Corsa racing in VR with like the whole sim rig setup with the wheel and the pedals and stuff, which is right over here. You guys can't quite see it, but and I want to say we did that for hours, like hours and hours and hours and hours. I can't play a game like Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades, Half-Life Alyx, Job Simulator, you know, VR chat. Like, I guess VR chat's a little more loose because, like, you can hang out in VR chat for hours because there's a lot of, like, not doing anything. But the majority, like Asgard's Wrath, you know, you're doing motion control shit in physical space, and people don't want to do that for extended periods of time. They just don't. It's not like you get tired in about 20 minutes and you're like, man, this is not the same thing. The best example I can give is like, I haven't played in a couple of days, but the game that I'm really enjoying right now is Octopath Traveler 2. And it's because it's super chill. It's like, low key, you know, I'm not stressed out. I'm just vibing. Anna with the fucking gifted subs. You're awesome. Thank you so much for getting us up. Did you get us to the 50? I think you got us to the 50. You gifted 3. Shioran WE Dev. Congrats.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, Travis, congrats on your emotes. Thank you, Anna. That's very kind of you. Anna's still one of the best supporters of the channel. Thank you so much. Even though I'd be saying shit that makes Anna mad all the time, I'm sure. I cannot believe that you still come around. Thank you for that. It's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Anna. VRWare is the main one. Oh, cool. I have to look at those VR chat rooms that do a decent job.
Yeah, there's VR chat rooms that people have made that are like playing WarioWare, and it does an okay job. I think it could probably be done a bit better, but if you want to kind of experience that.
Anna, I like that you don't think the way I do. I think that's a really good thing. As much as I joke around when people agree with me, and I like that, you know, I like talking to people who don't think the same way I do. That's how you grow and become a better person, you know. So whatever. Yeah, how dare people disagree? That's against the internet rules. Looking at you, Kojima, you get him, Anna. But yeah, like I don't know. I mocap. I could be wrong. If you want to check out VRware and get back to us and like tell us what your thoughts are, like let us know. Are you in VR like often, like in and out all day? I feel like you probably are, just based on the stuff you do.
But
Or
like
is
Vince, like if you think about like what was it called? The GeoGuessr thing that we made, like there's probably a version of it that could kind of play like that, where like you don't necessarily have to be like up jumping around all crazy. You could just be kind of like sitting around in a circle with your friends and you have to just like press a button or something.
Yeah, I think those
yeah.
games are good for VR.
Yeah.
Like Gorilla Tag. That's another one. That game is fucking exhausting.
That game is
so
a cardio workout. Sweatiest I've ever gotten in VR.
Yep.
Yep.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is there are plenty of experiences like that in VR. I think we are still missing the game in VR that you cannot experience in a flat way. And it's special. Like that doesn't exist yet. No one's made it. And it has to be something you can play for like 4+ hours, straight. I think that whatever that game is will be the game that people like, you got to get VR for this. And when you're playing in VR, you got to get this accessory pack because it has extra batteries so that you don't run out, or you want to play tethered because like you're going to be playing for 4 hours, something like that, right? Like it's not there yet. We need something like that. You guys should do a series, Tony's sweatiest VR experiences. Yeah, we almost did today.
I'll get sweaty in VR next week. I don't care.
Yeah, man. We can get after it. I mean, we are making a VR game still. Like it's Hyperskate's still there. Don't you worry.
Oh, I look forward to getting back to it because I think we're gonna fucking destroy it and it's gonna be amazing. But when the time is right.
Yeah, it's been really nice working on a flat game because it's just a completely different set of problems. It's one that I know how to solve a lot of, but like, yeah.
I keep telling myself the Steam frame will come out and it will make like working on a VR game a lot less annoying than it is right now, which is like a big reason why I don't think we want to do it. But
I mean, we want to do it.
I want to do it, but just like the prospect of like, as opposed to just open Unreal and like hit play, it's like I gotta like get my headset and get it connected to Steam and like do all of that before I open Unreal and put it on every time I want to look at something. And I don't know. It's just a lot.
It is a lot. I can't play any VR games where I have to control a character's movement. That you can like train yourself for, Travis.
It takes a while, but
yeah,
you can learn it. VR legs.
So like, I don't know. I don't get motion sick. Like it's very hard for me to get motion sick. So I'm generally fine in VR. One of the weirdest things I did was a like free look, like floating control where I was like a ghost flying around in VR and I was physically walking at the same time and going in the opposite directions. And that definitely made me a little like dizzy, but I'm mostly fine.
I tried to play, it was Perfect Dark N64 VR mod the other day, which is like, on paper, it sounds so sick, but it only has smooth turning, and like I've played like 5,000 hours of VR, but I don't do smooth turning. Like it is the one thing that will still kind of make me not feel very good. And it was like 5 minutes playing that game, and I was like, I don't know, I got to take this off. This is kind of messing me up. So I don't know.
So
the Perfect Dark thing seemed like it was cool, but like I was having a really hard time figuring out how to make all of it work the way that I was doing it, at least. So I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question. Brightside was wondering if anyone's talked about 5.8 or 6 Unreal Engine version with any VR.
5.8 has Steam Frame SDK built into it. But I did read on Reddit that they're saying that like 5.7 and 5.8 are like big regressions for VR. I don't really believe people when they say stuff like that because I think it's just like their own personal experience and they don't have any like facts to back it up with. But
yeah,
I want to say like if you look at the patch notes, like 5.7 and 5.8 both kind of just had like one or two throwaway lines of like improve VR performance and fix crashes and stuff like that. So it's definitely not a major thing that they're focusing on, but the fact that like they did put the Steam Frame SDK in already before the thing is out is cool.
Since you guys were talking about Perfect Dark, apparently id pitched a Perfect Dark game before they got shut down by Microsoft.
if history shows us anything, every time you try to make a perfect dark game, it goes really poorly. So you should not do that. Yeah.
Id Software pitched a new Perfect Dark game and a John Wick style original IP before it was hit with significant staff cuts this week, according to reports. State notice revealed. We already talked about the layoffs. They just launched Doom Dark Ages expansion this week. They pitched various projects in the time since the full Dark Ages game release last year, including multiple original IPs, but none were greenlit. And Asha Sharma has since pushed for company-wide refocus on its biggest brands. So remember this, when that statement happens, refocus on biggest brands, that probably means remasters. I doubt it means a brand new release in an IP franchise. Like, that's because of the risk. Like, that's the thing, is you got to pay attention to like how much it costs and what the risk is. And if Microsoft is going to lose its ass if the game doesn't do well, they're not going to be funding brand new stuff. It's fucking crazy. Notably, it is said to have pitched a game based on Perfect Dark franchise. A planned reboot by now closed Xbox studio The Initiative was canceled last year, but it reportedly made concept art for a new concept of its own. Doom series director Hugo Martin is also said to have pitched an original IP inspired by John Wick, codenamed Fury. Project allegedly featured elements of sci-fi, noir, and Louisiana and Chicago gangsters with a concept called Gun Fu, which combined gunplay with martial arts. That sounds like a fucking great idea. I'm just saying, that sounds really good.
I don't know about from id necessarily, but it does sound cool.
It could be cool, man. I mean, they kind of were doing that with like the shit they developed for, Doom Dark Ages. Like, there's melee in that, and if they make that a more robust system, that could be pretty cool. Doom 2016 too. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Tony. Brightside says my dad's name is Steam SDK. I don't believe you. That means your Brightside.
You always say your dad's name is something. I don't even get it. It's not. I don't know.
He's been spending
that. Come on.
He's spending too much time in the hot box, dude. He's hanging out with the bodega cat, drinking fucking Rhino 69s.
Dude, I wanted to put this up. Look at this shit. You can do this thing in this new Doom DLC where you can play the OG Doom levels, but they're like in the new engine with the new renderer, and then it like moves your gun into the middle and like kind of animates it like OG Doom. I thought this looked so cool.
That's interesting.
This is so crazy looking. It looks like somebody like AI generated OG Doom, but this is real and you can play it.
Well, did you play 2016 and unlock the original Doom levels? The whole original
but
Doom
like,
game
it wasn't like this, and like I don't know, they just like the gun especially looks correct to me, and I just think it looks so crazy. But I know what you're talking about for sure.
That shit was very cool. I didn't unlock them all, but it was fun. Because like
I've played this level so many times because of myhouse.wad, because this is the level that you have to play in between your loops. So
isn't Gun Fu what Equilibrium was all about? Yeah, it was the gun kata. Exactly that, Graham. Brightset says, I didn't know if I just didn't pay attention to any announcements or there just wasn't any. Yeah. It sounds like there weren't really any. I don't think they were talking about VR. I mean, VR is kind of in a slump right now anyway. They had some major gambles that they took on certain games to try to sell headsets, and they did not go well. And then, Meta shut down a bunch of that first-party shit they were doing, and that's bad. So
there are Quest 4 rumors recently, though.
Yep.
See.
Yeah, Equilibrium is great. That's Fahrenheit 451 or whatever, right? What is it? Is that what it is? Yeah, Fahrenheit 451 is what Equilibrium is based on. And a little bit of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, I think. Because like they take the soma to not have emotions. Let's see. Okay, so we were talking about this. Like this is such a tragedy. Like it was pitching a bunch of really cool games, and then they just got obliterated by Asha. And they lost like generational knowledge of like game dev. Yeah, it's Equilibrium is definitely based on more than one book. But Fahrenheit 451, that's Ray Bradbury, and then Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. It's got a little bit of those in there. There's like two different societies, which is a little bit of Brave New World. The utopian society is intentionally devoid of culture and emotion, because if they have like art, then it makes people act irrationally, and when people act irrationally, violence and war happens. So to suppress all of that, they basically outlaw art and like emotions, and you have to take a prescription medication that keeps you from feeling emotion at all. And so that's why Christian Bale's character like started putting his pills in the wall or whatever and hiding his dosage. That's why. But yeah, very cool stuff. And like, if you think about when, is it Sean Bean in that? Is it Sean Bean or Liam Neeson? I think it's Sean Bean. But yeah, Sean Bean finds the book and he like read it, and then fucking Christian Bale has to take him out. That's why. I gotta close my window, guys. The rain's coming. All right. Yeah, Equilibrium is a great movie. I really like that. I very much enjoyed it. Some very good Christian Bale. Those kinds of plots would be what I would read books for. Okay, so I have to warn you, Brave New World is a great book. It's really, really good. One of the other selling points is that Brave New World is one of I think it's like number 6 on the most banned books in the world because of various reasons. So liberals ban it because of the language that Huxley uses to describe indigenous populations, and conservatives ban it because of the sexual liberty and identity liberty that is in the book. Yep, it is absolutely the book that I've mentioned the most on stream. There's so many movies based on Brave New World too. It's a very important piece of literature. And the craziest part is that Huxley wrote that shit in 1932. Like, what the fuck are we doing? You know? Let me see. Brave New World original publication date. So just to warn you, yeah, January 1st, 1932. If you decide to read it, it's written in like 1930s UK English. So it's a little wonky the way he writes it. So just be aware of that. But it's a cool book. And he talks about like future technology where everyone has like flying cars and some shit like that. And he calls them like gyrocopters, and talks about all kinds of wacky stuff. Brave New World and House of, we should not name it. House of Leaves. Yes. Yes, Anna. House of Leaves, very spooky. But I think, you know, I've read through probably a third of Brave New World again, because it's been a long time since I've read it. It's really interesting. It's a good book. The movie Gattaca is based on Brave New World as well. Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes and I keep like trying to say the character's name. Sylvester Stallone. Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock. That's based on Brave New World. So yeah, there's a lot of shit. Like, it's crazy to think that some dude could write this shit in 1932, and you know, it's important, right? You can see it from here, Tony. What can you see?
Oh, House of Leaves. It's right there.
Well, that's spooky. You mustn't read from the book, dude. Graham, Fahrenheit 451 is really short. Very easy read. Good book.
Yeah, I mean, they make like, you know, the low-level English students in high school read it. I don't think it's a very hard book.
Yeah, it's not at all. But it's great. Really good. And that's kind of the core concept from Equilibrium about knowledge being dangerous. And like, because oh man, even Three Body deals with that, right? Because there were like, what was the spring one about global warming? It's like sudden spring or something like that,
where like everybody just said like, whatever, we don't care, you know, we're not gonna like preserve the planet for future generations. That part.
So the reason why the book was outlawed is because it was considered.
Oh, you're talking about outlawed in China. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
because it was considered reactionary thinking and saying like, you should not have industrialization progress in the country and like further the state of everyone's baseline of existence because global warming, which is like, considered reactionary thinking in the, that comes from the West. And
I mean, the entire premise of the book is like,
yeah,
Shay Wenji's like existence is so miserable that she'd rather the aliens come and like wipe the human race out than continue to live it. So
yeah, so that concept of like a book being dangerous is the core premise of Fahrenheit 451. And the title Fahrenheit 451 is the temperature that it takes for books to burn. So that's what it's all about. It's literally about burning books and controlling information and the way people think and stuff like that, which is super interesting. I probably read it like 10 years ago or something like that in Mexico. Pretty sure I ripped through that. And American Gods. American Gods is really good. I like that a lot. Anna, you like Neil Gaiman, right? Pretty sure you do. I feel like we've talked about Neil Gaiman, and the way he writes is like so fucking good. I don't let the book have power over me. That's where they get you. Yeah, that's exactly right, Tony. Anna, you called me Vance. I don't appreciate that. I'm kidding. You're fine. I know English is not your first language. You're not going to get the Greg treatment here. Okay, so it apparently pitched a bunch of stuff, released an expansion, and their reward from Asha was to be gutted and reduced to a 50-person studio or less, like a 25-person studio. I mean, I was just talking yesterday about how it seemed, I was being hopeful about Asha Sharma and the public statement she made, and then she just fucking obliterates like one of the most important pieces of the video game industry. That's fucking crazy. Oh, no. Did this article just come out? Okay, June 9th at 9 p.m. UK. Okay. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma named as advisor to U.S. Federal Reserve on jobs and productivity. Fuck, dude. Oh, my God. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? So this is specific to the U.S. The Federal Reserve is the central banking system of the U.S. On Thursday, it announced the leadership and objectives of its 5 task forces established to advance the conduct of monetary policy. Notably, Sharma was named as one of 3 advisors on the Productivity and Job Task Force, which the Federal Reserve says will be assessing, among other things, the impact of AI. According to a news release, the task force will look at the economic impact of new general purpose technologies, including AI, to inform the Federal Reserve's policy judgments. Supported by Federal Reserve staff, the task force will operate independently with a mandate to follow the evidence, provide candid feedback, and produce rigorous findings for the Federal Open Market Committee. It's unclear how the appointments were made. Sharma is the only active CEO named to the 5 task forces. However, former CEO of Walmart, Doug McMillon, will advise on data. Sharma's appointment comes the same week she enacted sweeping layoffs across Xbox businesses, impacting 1,600 jobs and stretching to 3,200 by the end of Microsoft's business year. I read a report saying it was 4,800 total across all of Microsoft, stretching into 2027.
Well, yeah, but she's on the Xbox.
Yes. So her specific part of Microsoft is going to be 3,200, but Microsoft is laying off an additional, 1,500 people or something like that, 1,600. State warn notices began to reveal details of the cuts this week. Hundreds of job losses at ZeniMax, which does Elder Scrolls Online. Around 100 cuts at id Software. Around 134 specifically. Prior to becoming Xbox CEO earlier this year, Sharma served as president of Microsoft's Core AI product. That's probably how she got this spot. She also worked at Facebook as VP Product and Engineering for its Messenger and Instagram Direct products. I hate that. Federal Reserve's commitment to price stability and maximum employment is unwavering, as is our resolve to pursue our mandate with rigor, said Chairman Kevin Warsh. What a weird name. U.S. economy has changed significantly over the last generation, and never more so than right now. Each task force will carefully consider whether policymakers' means and methods, analytical tools, and policy approaches can be improved upon. I'm honored that the best minds from a range of disciplines have agreed to work with us to sharpen the performance as an institution. The goal is straightforward: to ensure the Fed is best positioned to achieve our objectives in this consequential time. Oh my God. It's just getting worse. Everything is getting worse. I hate it. I hate it. Let me see if there's anything else. Is there a positive thing that I threw into the channel that I can talk about this week? Okay, here's a positive thing. Southwest Airlines sparks air travel debate over standing up in the aisle when the airplane lands before everyone deboards. I'm kidding. That's not a positive thing. Okay,
what was the debate?
So the debate is, if you stand up before the door is open and you're allowed to get off, you're an asshole. And Southwest was like basically saying that, like, you're an asshole. Just stay in your seat, wait until the door is opened, and then get up, go from the front of the plane to the back, be orderly, like whatever. And that standing up and filling the aisle causes problems for everyone else. You're making everyone wait. So the debate was, people on Reddit, obviously, started going, well, I do this because I'm in a cramped seat and my leggies hurt and I need to stand up and stretch my leggies. And I gotta, it's not my fault. It's their fault. It's like, you're still inconveniencing other people. You think other people don't want to stand up and stretch their legs? Of course they do. So that was the debate. And it went both directions. You can stand up if you run forward as far as you can. Yeah. Turn off the light. You're a loser. Yes, I agree, Tony. I'm a patient sitter. I will stay in my seat and wait until people move, and I will communicate with the other people on the plane. I'm going to stand up now and grab these things. Is that cool? If you're in a rush, you can go ahead of me. I don't care. We're all going to the same place. At most, it's going to take you an extra 5 minutes. It doesn't fucking matter to deplane, My typos usually aren't about English being my native language, but about my anxiety. I type so fast the typos happen. Anna, you're totally fine. Don't trip. I was just messing with you. Happens with Portuguese as well. Yeah, no, you're fine. I was giving you some shit because I don't have the typical offenders here to make fun of. So I immediately regretted it. You're totally fine. But yeah, do you notice that? Like, what's the flying passenger culture like in Brazil, Anna? Do people, like, as soon as the plane lands and is chilling, do people like get up and stand in the aisle and just block it until they get off the plane and don't care about anyone else? Because that's kind of the norm in the US. It's fucking annoying. Every single flight. I've been flying since I was a child, very young, and that happens. How's Chan doing? You got
he's
some
stressed, of course. Yeah, that's why he's here.
Dog is chilling. Dog is stressed, Travis.
Yeah.
He came to get some hugs.
I just feel him like pawing my leg, and I'm like, oh, hey.
He's like, Dad, pick me up. I'm scared. It's rumbly outside.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
The other one is not here. I might go make sure he's okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Mochi's probably shrieking and being a cockroach somewhere. Yes, they do, unfortunately. Yeah, we got some thunder. Now we've got a storm that was rolling through. That's why I had to shut my window. It passed. So Tony and I don't live in this. We're not in the same house. We're in different parts of Colorado. So a storm hit my place and then is now passing over to his place. Your dogs don't like that either? Yeah. During the pandemic and 2 years after, they used to call us seat by seat. I love it. Dude, that would be sick, Anna. If you did that in the United States, people would crash out. They'd start screaming and get, hit the no-fly list and, get in fights with people. It's we've got such a crazy culture here. Not a great one, unfortunately. I wish we could unify and, have some tradition and chill the fuck out. Entitlement is right, Travis. Yeah. It's not necessarily our fault either. I think it's the fault of the corporate marketing mechanisms that make every individual American feel like they're entitled to everything. How's Mochi? He looks okay. He's a bit licky.
He was in his hiding spot, so I grabbed him, but he'll be okay now that he's up here.
Yeah, he's happier now.
You won't be okay?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Travis. It's entitlement for sure. I was joking about that one. I didn't. We don't necessarily even need to get onto like the deplaning procedure and whether what is courteous and what is not. Let me see if I got any more video game news here that I can touch on. Okay, we can talk more about the layoffs at ZeniMax. So over like 213 people got cut from ZeniMax, and another 166. Okay, wait. Warn notice: Microsoft has cut 213 and a further 116 at ZeniMax Media. Okay, so there were 213 at ZeniMax Online and 166 from ZeniMax Media. It's not clear how many have survived. But yeah, that's bad. I mean, there's no way ESO is going to be surviving that. So ESO is probably going to be dead. And it looks like the project they were working on called Project Blackbird was a third-person online looter shooter set in a sci-fi universe, and that was canceled. It had allegedly received rave reviews from internal management meetings. I mean, those people don't know what the fuck they're playing anyway. Writing on LinkedIn months after the cuts, Fryer called Blackbird the game I had waited my entire career to create, and confirmed that its cancellation led to his resignation. Okay, so the dude at ZeniMax who was working on this was like, man, they killed my project. Fuck it, I'm out. It's like, it is a fucking bloodbath. I didn't think it was going to get worse. It's only getting worse out here. What's good, Pineapple? Brightside, what are you taking screenshots of? Oh, the dog? Taking some dog screenshots? Travis says that and the people in power have extreme entitlement and lesser class aspire to be like them. Feeling a desire to be as entitled. It's a vicious cycle. Yeah, I think social media is to blame for that whole sense of entitlement. We've got like a whole generation trained on influencers to be like, that's the life that I deserve and that's what I should be living. And none of it's real. It's all fake. We decided we're going to stock up until next weekend when it's going to be 100 degrees and make a whole concession stand with bomb pops and stuff. Nice, dude. I love bomb pops. Pineapple, have you had like the different kinds of bomb pops that they have? They've got like OG bomb pops, which are red, white, and blue. Very tasty. They've got like Shrek ones. They have sour ones. They have blue ice flavored ones. They've got Nerds ones. I think the two best are the OGs and the Nerds. The Nerds bomb pops are crazy. They're so good. Astro Pops.
What do you think about stuff that's bomb pop flavored? Because I find that it's always kind of disappointing.
Bomb Pop is the only one that does it correct. So that's why he said Astro Pops. Either Astro Pops or Fireworks are not good.
Or
the
Rocket
Popsicle
Pops
brand ones.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, not fucking with those, dude. The Bomb Pops themselves are the best.
My sister always goes for like the Rocket Pop, like twisted teas, and then I just get the normal one. Like, I don't know.
That's crazy. Why would you want, like, you have one of those and then you're like, I have a hangover?
Yeah, and you would think like maybe it would be something that she'd like bring around like one time, but it's been like 3 years in a row where they're going to show up at some point, and it's like, huh, okay.
Anna says Mark Darrow, a former vet from BioWare, made a video about the Microsoft bloodbath and said he isn't very hopeful that the layoff will end soon. I mean, we know it won't, Anna, because, Asha issued a public statement saying that the layoffs will continue into 2027. So they're going to be laying people off all year. We might also get big poppers.
John Carmack just tweeted about it. If you want me to read what he said.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Let's see. I've been trying to find something meaningful to say about the id Software layoffs. My Microsoft will probably be a good steward of the brand statement isn't aging well, and this is certainly going to dampen the mood of the founder reunion at QuakeCon next month. I'm saddened, but I can't muster anger or outrage over it. I don't have access to the books, but I suspect that id Software was a marginal business from Microsoft's perspective. I believe the reports that Minecraft revenues have been carrying several other studios. There have been reports that have said that Minecraft was making so much money it was keeping everything else afloat, and nothing else was really making money. To continue being produced long term, games need to succeed, not just be beloved. Games are competing with every other option for spending your leisure time and money, and the competition is brutal. You can't rule out the possibility that executives are idiots, but that shouldn't be your default belief. I don't think there is any obvious path that would have doubled the revenue from id games. Could they have gotten more from a different pricing strategy? Could they have created more things for fans to buy? Could they have cost effectively marketed in a way that reached more players that would have loved and bought the games? Could they have changed the game design and broadened the appeal to more players without alienating existing ones? Could they have produced the games at a lower cost, faster, or cheaper? I really don't know. The game isn't over yet, and I hope the studio rallies through. And then he said, by the way, if Xbox division is scrounging for loose change under the sofa cushions, I'm willing to put up $1 million guaranteed to allow Team Beef VR to commercialize the legacy open source games on VR. Wow.
Sick, dude.
I'd be sick if he would do that.
I don't think he's going to do that. He's just tweeting some shit.
I don't think Microsoft will do it, but
yeah. He's just tweeting some shit. That's not going anywhere.
Somebody asked him, can you or would you buy back the IP or at least the name? And he said, I'm sure they would value the IP at substantially more than my personal net worth, even if it was just sitting on a shelf for potential future use. Regardless, I don't think I'm the right person to lead a modern game studio.
Hey, that's at least like very self-aware. I agree with that. I don't think Carmack would be the right guy to be in charge right now.
No, I mean, somebody should hire that dude to run like a VR or AI company, which I think is kind of what he's doing. And, they'll make $1 billion, no question. So
the thing that sucks about what he was saying, do you remember the other studio? I was talking about it yesterday because it was like they were saying Mojang and one other was like carrying everything. There was Minecraft, and what's the other big fucking thing that Microsoft has? It's not Roblox, right?
Is it King?
Yes, King. Thank you. That was it. 100%.
Yep.
So it was like phone games, like Candy Crush, and then
isn't Clash of Clans King? No, it's Candy Crush.
No. Clash of Clans is Supercell.
Right.
And they have lost a fuckload of money. Their cash cow ran out. The fat is done. I think the interesting thing here about what Carmack was saying is like, yeah, you can't rule out the executives making bad decisions. But I think the clear picture here is they looked at the overall portfolio and they were like, the only things bringing us in money are phone games and Minecraft, and we should compete with Roblox and phone attention. And I'm like, what are you doing? There are still people who play games. It is fucking huge. It is $150 billion profit industry. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there's so much potential there, and you want to just chase this thing that your spreadsheet says performs better? That's not how it's going to happen. So, I don't know. I think it's dark days. And, what Anna was saying, that the layoffs are not going to end soon. No, not at all. And a lot of what we're seeing now is mitigation of PR risk, and the fall off really happened in 2022. And all these layoffs now were like the 1 year, 2 year mark where they could wait to not have the worst look possible. So all these layoffs are like spacing out over time so that it's not like 120,000 people just lost their jobs in the fiscal quarter, first fiscal quarter of 2026. Like, that's what they're avoiding, because that would be a dramatic impact to the economy, like world economy. It would be really bad globally to do shit like that. So yeah, I'm glad you put up Mortal Shell 2, Tony. Like, Mortal Shell 2 is a great example. Make a fucking good game, guys. Just make a good game. Do something like that, make a game that the fucking Chud gamers want to play, and they will give you all of their money. That's how it works. I say that as a, probably, I think I'd probably fall into the category of Chud gamer at this point. Not to say I'm aligning with anything in the culture war, because I don't give a fuck about that. It's just so stupid. Anna says, I have to say, Brazilian laws are very specific about mass layoffs. Specific conditions must be met and negotiation must be done. So this frequent layoff in the industry is very weird for me in a way. So we have a little bit of employee or workers' rights protections. That's what this WARN Act thing is. So they have to give them like a public notification of a minimum of like 30 days or something like that by law. You can't just be like, hey guys, I know we had a good run, but 75% of you are done right now. Get your desk packed up. Security's going to walk you out. Like, you can't really do that in the US anymore. There are ways to do things like that, But typically it's that the entire business has like declared bankruptcy and like everyone's losing their job. If they're cutting costs for financials, per quarter, they can't just lay off all the staff and then hire people a month later. We have tons of worker protection, like due payments and other things. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the WARN Act doesn't actually include any compensation clauses. It's just like you gotta warn people before you let them go. Hence the name. It's an acronym. It doesn't actually mean like the name of the act is not you have to warn them. That's why we call it the WARN Act. It's like workers and something blah blah blah. So yeah. And there are trade-offs to that. There's upsides and downsides to robust worker protection, right? Like it is a good thing for business to be able to balance your books correctly if you've made a bad bet, and instead of starting all the way over with everything, you can reduce operations costs by reducing staff. It's got to be a lever that companies can pull. It just has to exist that way. But they don't have to do it in the shittiest way. That's the thing. Travis says, I got laid off after a 2-week mandatory company-wide vacation. The day before I was supposed to come back, they let me go, along with like 15 other people in a 30-people company. Yeah, so the reason they did that, Travis, is because they were making you use your PTO so they didn't have to cut you a check when they let you go. It's fucked up. It's not abnormal. It happens in every industry. I was angry because I made no money during that 2 weeks. Oh, they didn't fucking pay you for it? Bro, what? That might be illegal. that might be illegal. I don't know if they could do that. If the whole company went out of business, I don't fucking know, man. So what that seems to me like is a mandatory like furlough. It's weird that they didn't call it a furlough. They just like fucking cut you loose. Maybe a furlough is different legally, where like a business can say we have to furlough X percentage of the workforce, which means that you don't take pay, you don't do your job for a specific amount of time. And then when that period of time is over, you can come back to the job and do it again for the same pay rate. That might be the laws around furlough. I know typically furloughs work with like trade unions and stuff. So it happens a lot with airline pilots, especially when we're going through like the cost of aviation as a commercial business struggles for the last several years in the United States. Pilots will get furloughed and they basically just can't work for like a month. They can't do their job, but then they can come back when the furlough's over. It's a highly skilled profession, so it might be a different thing. It wasn't great. The game / studio sucked anyway, so it's whatever. I mean, yeah, that's so like Travis, we've talked about it a bunch on stream. It happens to everyone. It's not a good feeling. But the way I've always approached working in the game industry is thinking of it as like a gig business. And what I don't mean is gig economy. I don't want to conflate those things. I mean like show business. You're working a gig. You're like playing, certain venues for whatever, and you've got work while that's happening. But as you're coming up towards the end of that cycle of getting paid for the gig, you need to go find another gig. And that's typically how it works in games is you will sign on to a project at some point during development. As you get closer to shipping, your job is definitely a risk. It doesn't matter who you are. There's a high likelihood that you need to be ready to move to another project and be interviewing before you ship. It's just the nature of the games business. And the reason I'm saying that is that like there's not really a way to do it any better. Making entertainment software is very, very risky. There's so much money that gets involved, and it's not a good thing if the studio shuts down entirely. So you have the cycle of like very small team develops a thing, they get funding, they start building it, they have to staff up to fill the needs to meet the project schedule. As that balloons and they're nearing, closing the project, the staff comes down, and then the cycle repeats as they ship. They get down to that minimum group again and then build a new product, get it out there. This is not the type of industry where you're going to be at a single studio for 35 years and get a pension. It's just, that's not the nature of the games business. I'll never let you go, Travis. Yeah, Travis, you're one of us now. We're not letting you go either, bro. You stay here. We got you. Travis, you do art, right? Were you an artist? I was trying to remember what our conversation was yesterday around what you do in the games biz. I'm still waiting for Graham to give me my first task. He's been interviewing me for months. Okay, so you write code? Cool. What languages do you know, and like what's your, what engines have you worked in and stuff? Also, if you don't want to talk about it, it's totally fine. I like having conversations with people in chat. Graham says I have really stringent competency tests. Damn, bro. I also do 3D art, but more for my own fun as a de-stress method. Nice. That's really important. Yeah, it's hard. This business is really hard, and it takes experience. That's kind of like one of the big pieces of advice that I give people who are starting out in making games or have a dream of making games one day is go work for another company so that you can learn from other people's mistakes before you just try to make it your own thing. Because those mistakes that you make on your own without the knowledge or the wisdom of experience, either from your own experiences or from other people you've worked with, the cost you pay when it's your own business is extremely fucking high, and you might have to start again from scratch if you make a mistake. So the best bet is to learn as much as you can from another studio first and get all of that out of the way on someone else's dime with benefits and a paycheck and all of that. Yeah, paid experience, Brightside, exactly. That's the path I took. It worked really well for me. This is where we're at now. And yeah, we're on the way. Every day is growth for Fractal Grove. It's very cool. So it's awesome. It's slow. It's hard. But yeah, we're growing. Learning C++ and used to do C#. Been a few years though, mostly BP. Okay, so you were a Unity dev and you got into Unreal, is what you're saying? Haven't had much luck getting my foot in the door. How long have you been doing it, Travis? And also, like right now is a horrible fucking time to try to get hired at a AAA. But I think how long you've been doing it is somewhat relevant. 8 years. Oh shit. So 8 years, and you've been like indie or AA. Have you worked on any like bigger projects with funding and shipped games in that way, or is this like a side hobby? Like, how's your? You've had small indie studios. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of shit, dude. If you shipped games at small indie studios, you can point at those games. So that's what I did. My very first game was an indie mobile game, and I was able to have that on an iPad in interviews and show people like level designs I did and talk through all that. And that got me hired as a designer in all of my jobs. Just being able to demonstrate my work straight up in an interview has gone very, very far. The second piece that's really, really big is build your social network. Go meet people, talk to people who work at places that you want to work, become friends, learn how they got there, have lots of conversations. I did that mostly through conventions, going to PAX and stuff. Made a really, really big, I guess big is the wrong word. Made a robust social circle of people in the games industry that I could lean on for mentorship, or like who could say, hey, I know we've got a job over here, whatever. And I could talk to someone and they could open a door for me and I would have a conversation. At the end of the day, that recommendation isn't a guarantee, but it's an open door. That's getting your foot in. Yeah, networking is the strat, and then being able to talk directly about your work in an interview and show someone what you've done is the other piece. So get those two things squared away and you'll be good. I was doing it at PAX in like its heyday. I've been to GDC before. Very expensive. I don't necessarily recommend GDC. The vibes are better at PAX. But I think gaming conventions, and don't talk to the fans. Like don't go to make friends with fans. Talk to the people working in the booth for a game that you're interested in. Talk to them about how they got there, exchange contact information, do stuff like that. And if someone gives you advice, take it. Reach out to them when you've taken their advice. Show them what you did. Ask them for next steps. That's the most important thing. That was the biggest feedback I got from people who mentored me in my career is, they were like, the reason why I continue to talk to you is because I told you, a month ago, work on this thing. and then you gave me progress updates, and you talked to me about this thing you were working on and asked for next steps, and I gave you the next step advice. Like, you did the thing that you said you would do, and that's what matters. And that just builds a lot of um I want to say accord, but it builds like an understanding and like trust between you and that person who's mentoring you. And then they'll stick their neck out for you and help you. And it works really well. The one studio I worked at, I got laid off from. I'm not allowed to show any content that I've worked on. It's all locked behind account access and NDA. You can still, I mean, if the game shipped, then you can talk about it. Did it not ship, Travis? Anna says, I've been a civil servant for 20 years this year, and I can only be laid off if I do a crime against the government. As most civil servants in Brazil, the protection was made to protect the civil service against political issues. Interesting. Yeah, you got the state job. Yeah, we don't have stuff like that here. It's, you know, it comes and goes. But for the most part, a federal job is very, very stable in the United States. You're going to have a stable paycheck, you know, may not be a lot of room for growth, but you got a steady job with decent benefits. I can talk about what I did, but I can't show anything, even if I was allowed to. I have no access to display it because it's locked behind account access, and it's for schools only. Oh, interesting. I mean, I was in a similar situation with Bungie, but like my work was so well known that I can just point at the game, and I can point at like content creator videos and, you know, stuff like that. And before Bungie, it was portable stuff. Like I worked on robots and mobile games, so I can have it on an iPad and then just talk about it in an interview. So that's a lot more tough. I would consider trying to get, you know, I mean, if you're a developer and you're, you know, Tony could probably give you more advice about how to get a dev job. Because I don't know that process nearly as much. But I feel like you wouldn't necessarily need to show your work if you're trying to get like a software developer job in the games industry. I think the most important things are like quaternions and shit like that. 3D math is probably like the most important stuff. And then like just general logic and languages, you know, and systems you've built. I think generalist engineer is, it used to be like not as important, especially in AAA. You want to be like, I'm a gameplay engineer and I know how to build systems for like robust player controllers that create a unique game feel. Or you would be like an engine engineer or like VFX engineer, like very specific kinds of engineer jobs. It's all right though. I'm not hard set on getting an industry job necessarily. I do enjoy what I do now. Yeah, and I realize I'm offering you like unsolicited advice. It's something I'm used to in the format of our Twitch broadcasts. Is just giving people in chat advice. Yeah, Graham says networking is definitely the strat. And I would say, you know, Travis, if you're considering that and like trying to build up your social network to get into the industry, don't rely on Twitch. Twitch is not real. Like, it's going to be really rare that you'll meet someone on Twitch who can give you an open door. It helps. It certainly does. But I think the best bet is going to like an industry conference. So if you want to try GDC, the secret to networking at GDC is not being on the show floor talking to people in booths. You go to the bars in the hotels around the conference and have a conversation with someone at the bar. That sounds really weird, but I promise you that is the industry secret. You never know who you're going to talk to at the bar in San Francisco during GDC, especially near Moscone. So do that. PAX was really, really good for that. I don't know what it's like now. I mean, when we went, Tony, we made a lot of contacts, but it was like much thinner than the previous, 6 years that I was doing it. The game dev masterclass, not the pickup artist class. And people that know the engine stuff that can help expand those skills. Yeah, that's really true. But yeah, a bright side like that does matter. I'm sure you did the same thing with music, right? Like you did a lot of networking in the music industry, and you found out there were parts of it that you really didn't fucking like. So you're doing your own thing, but you at least had that exposure. I think there's a lot of people in the game industry who can't break in because they're lacking the social network. This is not an online thing either. Like you need to meet people in person, shake a hand, have a drink, have a conversation. It's very different, and it goes a long way. If anyone's got the look of someone that's about to pick up a chick, it's the 6'9" tatted guy with the dog on his lap. The dog being the key factor. Yeah, I'm not talking about picking up chicks. That's a very different thing. I take it back. You don't know anyone. Yeah. What more specifically, what I'm saying is like, okay, I'll put it this way. I went to a fan meet and greet with MMORPG.com and a professional streamer and community manager and a person who was like a design lead. This was all for a specific game. And we were like some of the only people that showed up to this shit. So we were talking to everyone, and it was a very like intimate, cool conversation with like less than 10 people. And the people I met there, I became really good friends with. And we would meet up every time we went to PAX. They were from all over the world. And we'd be like, yo, you're gonna be at PAX this weekend? They'd be like, yeah. And it'd be like, what part are you going to? They'd be like, I can get you into this one. Let's go over here. I gotta spend some time and schmooze so and so because they're a publishing partner and this and that. And that opens the fucking door, man. And then I would have all these conversations with different people and exchange information, and then the social network grows and got bigger. One of the people I met was the creative director on the Terra MMO, and he became, a mentor of mine. And he was a former Bungie guy, and like, he definitely helped me get into Bungie. He introduced me to someone. That person ended up being the design director who worked on Destiny and Halo Reach, and I think Halo 2. I don't know if he worked on Halo 2. He might have done Halo 2 towards the end, and then Halo 3. But either way, just having a conversation with him, I showed him the fucking phone game that I worked on. I showed him the robot that I worked on. No AAA FPS experience, but he was like, you're fucking awesome. I'm going to get you into this interview pipeline. Let's go. And so that started a whole process. It still took me like 6 to 8 months to get a job offer at Bungie. But it eventually worked, and I got in. So music industry is nothing but networking. I assume like every other industry. Nepotism seems like an easy thing to blame, but I think it's kind of natural to put our homies and family in positions. Yeah, I think the nepotism thing is a little different though, Brightside. Like the origin of the term is mostly about like a super incompetent person who gets into a position of management because like their dad's the CEO and they're fucking terrible at their job. This other thing is just an extended interview process. You get to really know someone when you're like hanging out and having drinks and shooting the shit and talking about life. And then they're like, this guy's fucking cool. I want to hang out with this guy and like make a cool video game with him. That's the thing I'm talking about. It's a very different thing. But yeah, some could call it nepotism, but I don't think, I think this is different than nepotism. I think this is just how human beings do business, right? That's essentially what an interview is anyway. You're seeing if you can stomach the person's personality or if you genuinely like their personality and you want to work with them on something. So yeah, that's where I see the comparison being, I guess. Yeah, I hope that all made sense, Travis. I hope that helps. I know that some people, especially game devs, it's really hard to like put yourself out there and talk and like meet people. But it goes so far, man. It goes really, really far. Especially if it's a game you like. Like I remember when Darkest Dungeon was being shown in the indie showcase at PAX, I just chatted with those devs for like an hour and a half while they were running demos. I talked to like an artist, I talked to a writer, I talked to the studio head, or like not the studio head, but like one of the lead engineers. And I was just shooting the shit with those guys. It was really cool. We exchanged information. I didn't actually follow up with them, which is a mistake on my end because I wasn't sure that their game was going to be really cool, but I love their game and I should have kept in touch with Red Hook because like it'd just be cool to have some more homies in the industry to talk to. You'd love to work on Arc at Wildcard? Okay, so Travis, the best advice I can give you about that is find out when there's like an Arc convention or something going on, when they're going to be at a place, and go be a person and meet people. And, so it's kind of weird. But there used to be a time when, boomers would get a job by walking into a place they wanted to work with a resume in hand, shaking a hand, saying, "Nice to meet you. I would love to work here one day. What, my skill set is this. How can I get into, what are your needs for your business? How can we make this so that we can work together?" So yeah, like that, it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different application of it. And it's weird because software entertainment is its own wild animal. Yeah, leave your home. I know. It's hard. So for me, Travis, the reason I was doing that was because I was a network engineer. And I thought that was what I was going to do. That was going to be the job that like I retired from and all that other stuff. And I had spent, years of my life building up that career. And I was like, I actually wanted to make games. That's what I went to college for. And that's what I wanted to get out of it. And, 7 years later, I was like, one of my friends had tickets to PAX. I think he'd been one time before. And he's like, "Dude, my buddy who was going to go with me, we had a falling out. I have an extra ticket. I need to split my hotel costs with someone." I was like, "Fuck it, dude. I'll go with you. Why not? I got vacation time. I got a good job. I got money. It's fine. I'll take an impromptu trip to Boston. Let's go." It was one of the coolest fucking experiences I've ever had. That's where I met all these really awesome people. And I kept in touch with them and I kept chatting. And over time, I was asking for advice how to get in. And they were like, "You got to make something. Everybody who's going to hire you needs to look at your work, regardless what your discipline is, and know that you know how to make a game." So conversation's one piece, showing that you can do it is the other piece. And then, of course, your social network for the open door opportunities, the third piece. So I've heard about people making good money on Arc mods. So modding is also a route you can go. The only thing I would caution you about is that modders typically do not get jobs. That was like a 15 years ago thing when the like modders was kind of like a pipeline to get in, because you would get well known by the developers and then you would reach out and say, "I want to work with you guys. I love your game so much. I want to be a part of this team. How do I get in here? Here's what my skill sets are. Here's what I can build in your game without using your internal tools." And then they're like, "Fuck yeah, dude, get in here." It's usually a junior position they'll hire you into, which is rough because it's easier for them. You're passionate already, intimately know the product. I've worked with several people that were modders first. Adder, who comes around in the channel, started as a modder as well. But yeah, I think for Arc, find out where they're going to show up at a convention. Go chat with everyone in the booth, like everyone in the booth. That's what they're there for. And if you're not being a weirdo, ask them what they do. Mostly this is weird, but mostly the trick is to ask questions and kind of give, when someone asks a question about you, provide one piece of information and then ask a follow-up question about them, and then be engaged in the things that they are saying. And that people like that. It's a good thing. I don't know right now with the layoffs, but I've seen quite a few modders get picked up by studios in the last 6 or 7 years. That's cool, Graham. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've been out the game for 3 years now, being in like a AAA or AA on a team with funding and all that. So I don't know the state of it right now. And in that period of time, like there's been like 100,000 people laid off in the industry. So it's hard. You're currently competing with a lot of talent, regardless of where you want to go. Used to mod Session Skate Sim pretty heavily. Oh, okay. So that was your open door and that got you in. That's sick. You're already doing it. You're doing the thing. Besides the route to get hired, it's a good way to use a skill set and have a diversified skill set. Yeah, diversified income. Yes, totally. Yeah, especially if they're like paid mods and stuff, and you have the approval of the studio to do that. That was it. It was Sessions. So Brightside, Travis was saying he works on Skate Sim. Did I fuck that up? Is it Session Skate Sim? Is it the same game? Please forgive my ignorance. Skate Lab. I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, Skate Lab. So there you go, Travis. You got a fan right there in Brightside Movement. I've watched him playing sessions on stream. I appreciate your grace there, Travis. You know, I'd say wrong things sometimes, and you know, I'm not trying to fuck anyone's stuff up. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. So that's why I apologize. It's beautiful to see this matchmaking. What's the fucking what's the matchmaker in like Yiddish? Is it Yentl? I'm like the Yentl for game devs. I wouldn't expect you to remember something you heard of once like 2 hours ago. I mean, I would. Tony would.
You would.
Some of you other people in chat who've been around for a while probably would. I'll definitely be like, hey, you remember that time 3 years ago when this one specific situation happened? And people are like, bro, what? I'm like, yeah, this is the whole situation. And the memory comes back and they're like, oh shit, how do you remember that? I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. It's not in my control. Don't let him off, Travis. Get him. Yeah, get me, dude. Tony, how's your test stuff going? What were you ball machine? I see you fixed the video overlay and something else.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix this chat overlay, but like every time I send a message, it's like adding another message onto it, but like repeating it. And I honestly don't know why. I think it's just like widgets being stupid, so I'm trying to figure it out.
I liked Astad. You don't even care. You're like, whatever.
You would.
Oh, bro, come on. Brightside, is that your dad's name? Astad? Okay, so I saw this earlier this week, and I wasn't really sure what it was. Creator of infamous 1 million Kickstarter project Phoenix says he deserved the backlash and insists it's still coming. Did you ever hear about Project Phoenix, Tony?
No.
Back in 2013, Project Phoenix was the kind of Kickstarter success story video game players couldn't get enough of. Like most crowdfunding hits of the era, JRPG promised to revive a video game genre many felt had become neglected, with involvement from veteran developers, including industry royalty like Final Fantasy composer Nobuo Uematsu, and within a month, it raised over 1 million from 15,000 backers, over 10 times its initial goal. Then things started to go wrong. Updates became less frequent, promised release dates quietly slipped, and there was little tangible evidence the game was moving forward. By the time Project Phoenix's developer was accused of more serious allegations, which were later retracted, trust had largely been destroyed, and one of Kickstarter's early success stories became crowdfunding infamy. So here's the thing. What's interesting about this is this person is promising to make a classic JRPG with a Kickstarter, gets over $1 million. $1 million is not enough to make that fucking game. It's just not in 2013, not today. So that's probably a bit of it. So I bet these guys got in way out of their depth and were like, fuck, we can't pay to make this happen. So we got the $1 million, but we can't deliver the game. So anyway, I'm going to keep reading. By 2019, 4 years into its initially promised release date, Project Phoenix had become the subject of, so they were saying they were going to release in 2015. That's not good. So Project Phoenix had become the subject of frequent online criticism, with increasingly angry backer communities wondering if the game would ever release.
Oh, your mic's doing the thing.
Really? I didn't even touch it.
Keep talking.
Yeah, I'm by 2019, 4 years out.
Yeah, it's good now. It must have been the internet or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Or
it could have been like the angle I was at because I like moved.
Oh, yeah. I think that was it.
Okay, so I just got to be closer. Okay,
yep.
I'll get back in here. 4 years after its initially promised release date, Project Phoenix had become the subject of frequent online criticism, with increasingly angry backer communities wondering if it would ever release, and the project went totally dark. Now, after 7 years of silence, Project Phoenix's developer is speaking publicly again, and it claims it intends to finally finish the game, even if it will come at its own expense, and long after most of its original backers have stopped waiting. This is not looking good. Sitting down with me ahead of Project Phoenix's first Kickstarter update in 7 years, Hiroaki Yura, the classical musician and former Blizzard contributor who led the Kickstarter campaign, Waste no time attributing blame for what went wrong. It was my mistake. I overestimated my ability to deliver. There are other underlying factors for why we failed, but that's the main reason. Yeah, so I think this is probably a cost problem. He thought $1 million was going to be enough to make this game, and it just wasn't going to happen. I had a bone conduction mic and didn't realize it. Yeah, I don't know, Graham. I'm talking to Yura in a conference room in Tokyo, Japan. More than a decade after Kickstarter, for which he became notorious on the internet, Yura now leads 3 Japanese production companies across video, audio, and game development, collectively known as The Core. The room itself feels strangely revealing, far from the sterile meeting spaces. Dude, I don't care. What are you doing? This editorialization is very weird. Yura built his reputation as a violin prodigy in Australia, where he moved at age 6. As a youngster, he was already a virtuoso. That's cool. So this guy's a musician and then was like, I'm going to become a game studio head. He founded an audio company in 2010. Did major projects including Diablo 3, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Soul Calibur 4. That's cool. Crowdfunding boom happened. He appealed saying, this is what I'm trying to make. Sorry, I'll be right back. 1 second. I heard a ruckus. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we got to wrap up here pretty soon, so I'm going to read the rest of this article, and then Tony, if you want to get get ready to wrap things up, I think let's
get it wrapped up for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so this guy is saying, I think the underlying problem was my experience as a producer. Project Phoenix was the first game that I planned. I'd never led a game project prior to then, and I overestimated my abilities to deliver. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I mean, at least he's honest about it. This is the thing that I try to warn you guys about a lot with like starting indie projects. You got to be a part of the sausage making machine to know like what it takes to put all the pieces together. That being said, I'm not the greatest producer, but I've been through situations where I've seen things go poorly, and I know like a good method for building a game and finishing it. Cordial greetings to all. Anna Laris gifted me a sub some minutes ago. Nice to be here. Yo, welcome. Sharon. What's WE Dev? How do you want me to say your name? And yeah, welcome in. We are actually wrapping up, unfortunately. So I'm sad to tell you that as you just came in here, but that's awesome. Did you just get the notification, or do you know Anna from other chats? Okay, so I'm reading this article about Project Phoenix, which was a like bad Kickstarter in 2013. But this guy is coming back saying that he's going to build, continue and finish the game, even if it costs some money out of his pocket. Okay, there were other key underlying factors for why we failed, but that was the main one. Okay, so this dude didn't have experience building a video game. That was the biggest problem. You've never met before. Oh, okay, well, that's very cool. Was that like a random gifted sub, Anna, and then it just hit someone on Twitch? Because I think that's what happens if you hit randoms. If you like randomly gift a sub, sometimes it gifts someone in another channel. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Random. Well, welcome. So we're a game studio. Shioran. I saw a notification for the gift and thought, why not? Hell yeah! It's the system works. Thank you. So yeah, we're a game studio based in Colorado. We're the co-founders. I'm Vince. This is Tony down there. That's Tony down there. And we stream twice a week, Wednesdays and Thursdays, usually only about 2 hours each time. We're about 20 minutes over right now. And the whole goal of the stream is to, Tony's usually building something in Unreal, and I'm talking with you guys and reading industry news and, offering my, the knowledge of my experience from making games for 15 years as a professional game designer. I've worked on everything from like mobile to AAA. I worked on Destiny 2 for 5 years. I did the launch of Destiny 2. I did the Whisper and 0 Hour, if you know Destiny 2 at all. I left Bungie in 2019, worked on, I was a lead level designer at Topgolf doing a mobile golf game. I think it's closed now. And then after that, I went to Free Range Games and was a senior designer, lead designer on Return to Moria. And then I went full-time on Fractal Grove with Tony in like 2023, I think it was, something like that. So yeah, it's kind of our deal. Tony is a successful software entrepreneur. He's built a bunch of stuff outside of games and, successfully runs his own businesses. So that's kind of how we partnered up. He does the tech stuff and very much understands technology. That's why he's, building the cool thing in the background while I'm being entertaining to you guys in chat and talking with you. Yeah, that's kind of the format of our stream. We show the games that we work on stream sometimes, and other times Tony's working on a project like this, which is Twitch chat integrated, running in Unreal. It's sort of like an arcade ball machine, like a coin pusher. But yeah, he's fixing up some things with the chat integration right now. I was reading an article on VGC Video Games Chronicle about Project Phoenix, which is a Kickstarter from 2013, and I thought this was somewhat interesting. This wasn't necessarily a planned talking point for me, but I'm bringing it up now because we're sort of towards the end of the stream, and I need something to chat about because I got real in the weeds talking with Travis about getting into the games industry and like networking and like what I've done and all that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the gist. Welcome and thank you. I hope you enjoy being here. And yeah, it's thank you for the follow. It's very simple to catch our stream because it's the same time and the same day every week. So we do Wednesday 10 a.m. to noon Mountain Standard Time, and then Thursday 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. standard or daylight Mountain Time. So that sounds good. I've been using Unreal since before it was released to the public. Oh, hell yeah. So are you a game dev, Shorin? And wait, how do I say your name? Is it Shorin? Shorin? Oren? What's WE dev as well? I want to know that. Like, or at least just tell me how you want, what you want me to call you. Yeah, I don't like saying people's names wrong and messing it up. So, okay. So this VGC person is interviewing, this contentious person, Hiroaki Yura, with a failed Kickstarter from, I guess, successful Kickstarter from 2013, but they never released the game. So it looks like he was making video game music for a while and then took like a detour to go make some other businesses and become successful in that way. But then talking about the undelivered Project Phoenix, which was like a classic JRPG Final Fantasy style that he was saying he was going to deliver. I vaguely remember this back in 2013. Raised over $1 million, which is not nearly enough to make a game like that, especially today. It definitely wasn't in 2013. Okay, so he says, around that time, I was the only external contractor for Blizzard from Japan. I was having the time of my life getting to work with these guys who were my heroes, seeing everything behind the scenes. I was also bilingual, so I was in a unique position, and many of my friends in the games industry encouraged me to try working as a game producer. At the time, the Japanese games industry was in a lull, and there wasn't much investment. It's different now, but at the time, I also felt like the JRPG genre was bad. I used to speak to Sakaguchi-san, who's the creator of Final Fantasy, about all the wonderful stuff that he made. They put so much love into what they were making, but they were also just like me, on the edge, you know? One more mistake and they would be dead. I could feel a connection, and that's why I wanted to make Project Phoenix. So I decided to give it my best shot to make it happen. Okay, so this is interesting. The $1 million that wasn't really $1 million. I want to read. I'm going to skip through this and tell you guys specifically. Game was described as a squad-based real-time strategy game, so maybe like Final Fantasy Tactics is my guess. Immediately resonated with a core audience. There were Western fans, especially with the prevalence of Western games like Skyrim and Dragon Age. In just its first day, Phoenix raised more than $300K. A week later, it made more than $500,000. And by the time the project ended in September of 2013, Phoenix raised over $1 million from 15,800 backers. The initial goal was only $100K. Okay, so the Achilles heel of the project was how it overpromised features and underestimated its budget. That's exactly what I was saying I thought probably happened. I think to realistically make a Final Fantasy style RPG, JRPG nowadays, it's probably going to be anywhere from $15 to $50 million, depending on how big the game is and how big your team is. And it might take 3 to 5 years.
Was that Expedition 33 like 30 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, that's a JRPG style game for sure.
And that was considered like a little tiny team and a small budget. So,
yep.
Yep.
That's the hard part. Like, it's crazy, especially if you don't know, you know, what that money gets spent on, to be like, man, you got $30 million, you buying a McLaren? No, dude. Like, that's like a normal, if not under industry standard wage to build a thing and ship it, hoping it makes money.
Like, we'll do the thing that might make us money and we'll have none left, and hopefully that'll go okay. There's not going to be anything left to buy a McLaren. Like,
yeah, when you get that investment money that you raise, that's a loan. You got to give that shit back, and you got to tell the people that gave you the money that they're going to make some money off of yours. So that's how that goes. So the actual money you get it comes from game sales at the end when the project is done. So you could get $40 million in investment, and then your game sells 0 copies, and you are now on the hook for that, and your business goes under. That's just the way that goes. Okay, we ended up having about 20% less money than we expected. From the outside, it looked like we made $1 million, but then Kickstarter takes 5%. Then there was another 15% lost on top of that because of credit cards that got declined. Okay, so this is people who kickstarted and they didn't actually give the money to the Kickstarter. Damn, that's fucked up. I didn't even think about that. In the end, we got about $800,000. That's not a trivial amount, but it's also like a pittance in the, you know, that's a drop in the bucket making a video game. For Project positioning itself as an ambitious RPG that would set standards for the genre, the economics were already looking fragile, but according to Yura, by far his biggest mistake came next. The programmer who never showed up. It looks like he says Britain-based David Clark was a genius programmer, and they were waiting for his next title ship so he could join their team, and that delayed their production. Art they could do, but programming was way harder. So it looks like they got a bunch of art. Unfortunately for the violinist, Ori went on to be a big hit for Xbox, and Clark did not leave. So Clark is the Ori guy, and he bailed on Project Phoenix after a year-long delay for joining his team. Holy shit, that's rough. When he was working on his other game as a freelancer, he committed to working on Project Phoenix after. All of a sudden, his game was very successful. The publisher was very happy. They offered him more money to stay for the sequel. And yeah, I guess they were friends, and he's like, nah, dude, you should stay and do that. Biggest mistake I made during that time, because he was a fucking genius. He was so good at what he did, and it was impossible to replace him. Yeah, he put everything into one guy and waited for that one guy, which really harmed the project. Seems like, yeah, that's a business mistake for sure. And it looks like he wasn't getting paid out a full salary. He just took a residual instead because they were homies. Okay, I want to check real quick. Shio Run. Okay, I got you. Shio Run. Wolf Engine. Got you. Okay, cool. With stubbornness and a lot of patience, you can start with anything. Absolutely true. That sounds good. Been using Unreal. Oh, I already read that one. All right. Thank you, Shiran.
Want to wrap her up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess so. It looks like this shit just fell apart because he didn't know what he was doing. Got in over his head. Kickstarter went. They still got 800K. I wonder what he spent it on. Yeah, okay. So I'll leave you guys with this dad advice. Direct from Yura. I don't think I'd ever do another Kickstarter. The effort it takes to manage a Kickstarter is too much. The best thing is to be able to talk to your fans from the very beginning, but the money aspect doesn't work out for the fans or for us. That's why we are doing what we are doing on Twitch. You guys aren't kickstarting us, you know? You guys are giving us donations or subs, and that goes directly into the stuff that we're making. So like it's that was always my assumption, and it's nice to have that reinforced by this person who had a huge debacle on Kickstarter. So yeah, of course. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. Yeah, good weekend to the pups as well. Nice to talk to you guys today. Yeah, you too, Anna. Thanks for hanging out. It was a little thinner today, small crowd, but dedicated. Graham, thank you. Thank you for coming through again, Travis. I hope you enjoyed the stream. This is definitely like the normal format we hit on. Let's see, who else did we get? It was mostly Graham, Brightside, Anna. Pineapple came through for like 5 seconds and then left to go flip eggs. I'm really excited to play Dread. Okay, good, dude. I mean, we're way farther along than we were, months ago. Proper use of not spoiling us while it gets devved. Yeah. So we show things that we are not worried about spoiling stuff. So yeah, I don't know if you remember like the blue man and stuff like that walking around and shit, but yeah, that's evolved. Have a good one. Yeah, of course. Thank you, Graham. As always. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for the gifteds. Brightside, have a good weekend. Everyone have a good weekend. Shiran, thank you so much for coming through. And yeah, I hope you come back again. You'll get alerts and stuff like that. Shiran, if you want, let me drop some links for you real quick. Discord's definitely the best way for us to keep in touch because we don't stream all that often. And then if you want to support us on any of the other social things, we simultaneously stream on Twitch and YouTube. So that'll give you links to all of our socials if you want to check it out. Admittedly, the social media things like Twitter and Insta, we haven't touched those for months. So, but that's where we're at. Tony, you got any like final thoughts or anything?
Not really. Have a good weekend, everybody. Have a good one.
Oh yeah, thanks, gang.
Thanks for the subs. Really appreciate you, Anna.
Egg wisdom as well. Wednesday. Yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Everyone have a good weekend. Be safe, but not too safe, and we will catch you later.
See you guys.